J.C. Keeler won a national title at Delaware in 2003. Andy Talley did the same at Villanova in 2009. Today, Keeler, in his first season at Sam Houston State, will coach against Talley for the 12th time. It will be the Bearkats versus the Wildcats in the FCS quarterfinals. Who will be purring by the end of the afternoon? ESPN welcomes you to the NCAA FCS Football Championship, presented by Northwestern Mutual. We are at Villanova Stadium in Villanova, Pennsylvania. And today in the quarterfinals, it will be Sam Houston State versus the Villanova Wildcats. Last Saturday in the second round in Alabama, Jared Johnson hooked up with Ladarius Brown for a 49-yard go-ahead touchdown with 3:13 left in the third quarter. Sam Houston State went on to beat third-seeded Jacksonville State by 11. Meanwhile, here on Philadelphia's main line, John Robertson scored from the 1-yard line with only a minute 12 remaining to give Villanova a come-from-behind win over Liberty. So that sets up today's matchup, and the survivor of this one will meet the winner of today's game between 7th-seeded Coastal Carolina and 2nd-seeded North Dakota State in the semifinals next weekend. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi. Thanks so much for joining us, and we have some breaking news for you. 2 hours ago, Villanova announced that quarterback John Robertson, one of the 3 finalists for the Walter Payton National Player of the Year Award, won't play today. Last Sunday morning, he woke up the day after the Liberty game and experienced concussion-like symptoms. He was held out of practice all week, was medically cleared to participate in yesterday's walkthrough, got through the walkthrough just fine, but woke up this morning feeling groggy and dizzy, and the decision was made to hold him out of the game. Working with me today is Rocky Boyman, who spent 8 years of his life playing linebacker in the NFL. So, Rocky, with Robertson out, what does that mean for Villanova?
Well, they're missing a guy in Robertson who's probably going to win the Walter Payton Award here in a couple days. Robertson was the total package. Deadly accurate, made great decision. He's also probably the best running quarterback in the FCS. The offensive game plan for Villanova is clearly going to change today. So
the quarterback today will be Chris Poloni. He is a senior, and it will hardly be the first time that he has started a game.
It's funny, 40 ago, Poloni actually beat John Robertson out. Poloni has 5 stars under his belt. The key for Poloni, talking to some of the coaches here this morning, was he can't make the big mistake. If he stays away from the big interception, the big turnover, he can have success today, but clearly he's not a running quarterback.
So Villanova will rely more than ever on its defense, and the Wildcats do have one of the finalists for the Buck Buchanan Award. It goes to the best defensive player in the country.
Well, as a former linebacker, I love watching Don Cherry. Sideline to sideline, smart, but also very athletic. With Robertson being out, the defense is going to be key, and Cherry's got to carry the torch.
Now, Sam Houston State played in the national championship game and lost 2 years ago and 3 years ago. Here they are deep in the tournament again, but with totally different personnel. They have a legitimate dual threat at quarterback.
Well, they really do. Only 4 seniors on this roster, but Jared Johnson, the quarterback, is going to be the guy. Johnson's come off his best game of the year last week, 161 yards, 3 touchdowns, and most importantly, no interceptions. The key for Johnson is to not turn the ball over and to get involved in this game quickly. If he gets involved in the game quickly, he has the athleticism to flat take this game over.
And Sam Houston State has won the toss and is elected to defer. So Sam Houston State will be kicking off, going from left to right. It will be Luke Swinberga kicking off. He is a first-team All-Southland Conference kickoff man. And back deep to return will be Austin Medley for Villanova, along with Joe Sarnice. Sam Houston State enters 10-4. They were 7-1, co-champions in the Southland Conference. Villanova 11-2, 7-1. They finished in second place in the CAA, a game behind the number 1 ranked team in the country, New Hampshire. The short kick is returned by Matt McCann, and he'll get it out to the 30-yard line, and we will get our first look at the quarterback, Chris Poloni. And Rocky, you just have to know that his heart is pumping.
Absolutely. And I talked to some of the coaches this morning. They said it's actually probably a good thing that Poloni didn't learn he was going to start until this morning. He didn't have all week to get nervous. Now, obviously, he practiced all week with Robertson being out, so he took a lot of practice reps. He just found this morning he's going to start. Again, though, he's not a running quarterback. He's not a statue back there, but again, the offense is going to be different with him back there.
The lone setback behind him is Kevin Monangai. Monangai, a third-team All-CAA running back, and he will certainly get the bulk of the ball carrying today without Robertson in there. And he picks up 3 yards on first down.
Well, Bob, you said it. With Robertson being out, the run game is really going to have to take over, and that's the guy, Kevin Manon guy, going to have to carry the load. He's their best running back, pound for pound, probably the strongest guy on the team, and Trenier Orr is one of the Sam Houston State's best cover guys on the back end.
Poloni making his 6th career start, his first start this season. Senior from Whitehall, Pennsylvania, and he looks to throw and does to the right, incomplete, a little bit off target, intended for Lincoln Collins, and that will bring up a 3rd and 7.
And here's looking to throw. Poloni's first throw of the game, just got a little bit away from him outside. I think it's going to be key, Bob, for Poloni to get some confidence early. They're going to try to get him some easy passes, get him in the flow of this game. But now with 3rd and long, he's got to come up with something.
Villanova this year 3rd in the CAA, 8th in the country at converting on 3rd down. They converted 48% of the time, but that was with one of the 3 finalists for the Waller-Payton Award running the show. Sam Houston State led the Southland Conference in sacks. In P.J. Hall, they have a ferocious pass rusher. And here comes Hall, and he knocks the ball loose out of Poloni's hands. It's loose. Sam Houston claims they have it. But it looks like Villanova fell on the football. It was Kyle Wallace, but P.J. Hall, who had 9 sacks this year, got his hand on the football and knocked it out of Poloni's hand.
When P.J. Hall, number 92, right there coming in. And P.J. Hall is a guy, just a redshirt freshman, that's had a phenomenal year. That's his 10th sack of the year, 27 tackles for loss. And what did Casey Keeler this week tell us, Bob, the head coach for Sam Houston State? He said he loved the matchup of their defensive ends versus Villanova's offensive tackles, and you can see clearly already a big play.
And Hinchin's punt is blocked, and Sam Houston will take over at the Villanova 17-yard line. Huge back-to-back plays made by Sam Houston. The kick was blocked by Josh Lyons. And the Bearkats have the ball at the Villanova 17-yard line.
You see just pressure up the middle. Comes right up the gutter, and kicking is not one of Villanova's strong points. They miss a lot of extra points, a lot of field goals, but now it's the punt protection that's breaking down. And Bob, this game could not have started worse for Villanova. Is already coming in with a backup quarterback. They go 3 and out with a big sack and then a block punt. Sam Houston State with great field position.
And the quarterback, Jared Johnson. The lone setback behind him is Keyshawn Hill. First team all Southland Conference, and he gets the football straight ahead. Will get it to the 12-yard line. A 5-yard pickup, tackle made by Noble Ajakai. And there are the numbers on Johnson, who played very little, Rocky, prior to this season.
Yeah, he really did. He's a dual threat guy, just a sophomore, had to work on his mechanics and work through some things this year. But as I said in the open, coming off his best performance of the year last week.
Wide to the bottom of your screen is Ladarius Brown. On the swing pass, it's Gerald Thomas, and he has the ball very close to that first down marker, right at the chain at the 12-yard line. So far, there's no indication. They tell him that no, they're not telling that chain gang to move, are they? Okay, well now they're saying it is first down. They're taking the chains away because it's 1st and goal. Johnson, hands off, Hill, off right tackle, touchdown. Penalty marker on the play all the way at the bottom of the screen.
Illegal formation, 5-men in the backfield offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Wow, that's one of those unforced errors, Rocky.
And it looked like it was the right tackle, Brandon DeWitt, that may have not been close enough to the line of scrimmage. And that's a tough play to call right there.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
So we'll bring up a 2nd down and goal from the 12-yard line. There's Casey, or 1st and goal rather. Casey Keeler, who was the head coach just 40 minutes away at Delaware. This is the 12th time he's coached against Villanova. The Villanova-Delaware rival, that's the biggest rival for the two schools, Villanova and Delaware. So he nobody had to make any restaurant recommendations for Sam Houston State when they arrived on their charter flight on Thursday night. He knows this area very well. He knows Andy Talley very well. Last year when Casey was out of coaching for a year, he attended a couple of Villanova's practices, obviously with Andy Talley's blessing. And he said it was a little, the Villanova players looked a little uncomfortable. They always looked at me as the enemy.
The enemy was in the room, that's right.
They figured out, well, coach knows he's here. Quarterback draw, Johnson will keep it himself and will pick up maybe a yard on the play. Will be stopped just shy of the 10. And who's that made the stop?
Yeah, that's the guy we talked about in the open, Don Cherry. He is everywhere. 19.5 tackles for loss, 9 sacks. Again, he's clearly the guy that leads the defense. You can see he's one of our impact players for the game. Offensively for Sam Houston, though, Keyshawn Hall, their best running back here in his senior year, does a great job. They really have a 3-headed monster in the backfield. And if you include the quarterback, Jared Johnson, they got 4 guys, Bob, that can really rush that ball.
2nd and goal from the 11. 3 wide receivers to the right and 1 to the left. The handoff goes to Hill again. Hill inside the 5. Cherry stands him up at around the 4. Looks like they'll mark it at the 3, and it will be 3rd and goal from there. This is a Villanova team, Rocky, that did very well this year against the rush. 7th in the country in rushing defense.
Yeah, they got some big guys up front. It's not just Don Cherry out there. It's Austin Calitro, 45. We just saw a big guy up front there in the middle, a nose tackle, Pat Williams, number 52. He can clog up some lanes.
The setback now is Donovan Williams. He's the best blocker out of the backfield. Sam Houston, by the way, 10th in the country in red zone offense. This time he takes the snap under center, looking in the end zone for Ladarius Brown. Did he hang on? He did. Touchdown, Bearkats. Brown, the huge 6'2", 220. Looks like he's more than 220. Transfer from TCU.
And that's going to be a huge matchup all day, Bob. Ladarius Brown, as you said, 6'2", 220. Right there going up over the top. A great throw by Jared Johnson, but it was over the cornerback for Villanova, Jason Senius, who's just 5'9". So you got to figure that's a size matchup that they're going to try to exploit all day.
In to attempt the extra point is Luke Swinberga, 63 for 65 this season. Brown, by the way, had 2 touchdown catches in the 2nd round win last week against Jacksonville State. The kick is good, so Sam Houston State capitalizes on the block punt and only had to go 17 yards to score. It's Ladarius Brown with his 6th touchdown catch of the year. 7-0, taking advantage of the block punt. Before that, the sack on 3rd down. Let's take a look at how Sam Houston State and Villanova are planning for success. Brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
Well, and look, you see the game plan for Sam Houston State. They got to take care of the ball on offense with the ball hawking ability of Villanova defensively. And on defense, they got to tackle better, Bob. Last week in their game versus Jacksonville State, did not tackle great on the back end, allow some big plays. And for Villanova, with the new quarterback Poloni in, they got to protect better. Well, you can see right off the bat, that didn't quite work out on the first drive. And then secondly, not let Jared Johnson, the quarterback for Sam Houston State, get hot early. And again, it seems like they have gotten hot early.
19th touchdown pass of the season for Johnson, the 6th touchdown catch for Brown. And Rocky Brown, one of many, many transfers from FBS schools who have made a huge impact in their first season with Sam Houston State.
It's really different philosophies here between these two schools. Sam Houston State brings in a lot of transfers. Casey Keeler talked about that. But for Villanova, that's not the way they do it. Andy Talley does not bring in transfers. He thinks it affects the chemistry of the team. So we give him 2 different ways of building teams here on this field today.
Swinberga to kick off. And by the way, you will not find a better day on a 2nd weekend in December in this part of the country than it is today. Austin Medley from his 3-yard line. And he will be brought down at the 29-yard line, and penalty marker on the play. This almost always means some sort of illegal block on the run back. Our referee today is Tim O'Day.
During the return, holding, return team, number 27, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Malik Reeves is called for the illegal block.
Yeah, but it's been mistakes by Villanova early. Here's the 3rd down play. Sam Houston State decides to blitz, which wasn't part of the game plan with John Robertson back there at quarterback. But then right after that, see Josh Lyons come right up the middle with a game-changing play, the block punt, and Sam Houston State is rolling early. Then finish it off there by the touchdown in the back of the end zone there by Brown. Couldn't have been a better start.
So Villanova with the illegal block starts out in awful field position at its own 10. The handoff will go to Monangai. Gets good yardage up the middle. Pickup of 8 on first down. Tackle made by Michael Wade. There's John Robertson, who only can watch with the concussion, and look at those numbers.
Wow, you just can't replace those kind of numbers again. Probably one of the best players in all of FCS football. You know, and I was at walkthrough yesterday. He had just kind of passed that concussion protocol, as you said earlier, Bob. Woke up in the morning, had headaches, and wasn't able to go.
On second down, the handoff to Monangai again. He goes outside the block. Set up by his big guard, Jake Cruz. 3-yard pickup. And the first down of the ball game for the Wildcats, Mike Chapman with the tackle.
And look, for Villanova, the game plan doesn't have to change. Obviously, everything started off disastrously for them, but it's only down 7 points. They can still try to lean heavily on the run.
Handoff, Monangai again around the left side. Cuts it back. Gets it all the way to the 30-yard line. Pickup of 9. Tristan Eshe made the tackle. Villanova is the 9th leading rushing team in the country. But a lot of that is Monangai, but even more of it was Robertson. Empty backfield. Poloni. Bubble screen. Goes to Monangai. Pushes forward and gets the first down at the 32-yard line. Pickup of 3. Etche with the stop.
I like what they're doing. They're not asking Chris Poloni, who just found out he was going to start about 2 hours ago, and not trying to lean too heavily on him, putting the game in the hands of Kevin Monangai. He's very capable. Close to 1,000 yards rushing on the year.
He is the 3rd leading rusher in Villanova history. Robertson is 2nd. Poloni fakes the handoff, throws across the middle to his big tight end, Ernest Petway. He gets out to the 45-yard line. The ball came loose after the play. Pickup of 13 and another Wildcats first down. They have 3 of them already on this drive.
Here's Villanova going with some tempo. Usually don't see that.
They flake the flanker screen. They're looking long. Livers is behind everybody. Poppy Livers is going to take it all the way. 54-yard touchdown. And Villanova is an extra point away from tying. The bubble screen set that one up, didn't it?
It really did, but then what was critical is Villanova got to the line quickly. Not something they usually do, go very fast tempo. A nice pump fake there by Poloni. And Livers gets behind Mikel Everett. Touchdown, and Villanova quickly back in this football game.
But Villanova, we must point out, has missed 8 extra points this season. Chris Goff, 26 for 28 on extra points. The senior from Winslow, New Jersey, looking for the tie. And can you believe he missed another one? Just like that. Andy Talley told us this week, I cannot envision the scenario where we will attempt a field goal on Saturday.
And he shouldn't. They've had a disastrous time kicking this year, Bob. But after the big play by Livers, a touchdown, it's now 7-6 Sam Houston. Villanova, though, back in the game.
Point trails by a point. That 54-yard touchdown catch by Poppy Livers, his longest touchdown reception of the season. How did he get so wide open?
Well, Villanova caught Sam Houston off guard there. Again, they went with a lot of just running plays and quick passes that were short, close to the line of scrimmage. And then they ran up to the line quickly, and that's a nice pump fake there by Poloni. Got behind the defense, and you could sense that Sam Houston, knowing that Villanova was going to run the ball, we're starting to stack the box. As safeties were getting closer and closer to the line of scrimmage, Villanova accurately saw that and burned them with a big pass.
Do you think the next time Villanova gets a touchdown that we're going to see them go for the 2-point conversion for the rest of the day?
There's no way. I've never heard of 9 missed extra points in college football. You have to think they'll go for 2. They have a much better chance. Obviously, if John Robertson were a quarterback, I think they would have went for 2 right there. But without the running ability, the dual threat ability of Robertson in the game, it changes things up. But you can't continue to kick the extra points with that kind of non-success.
Goff will kick off. Gerald Thomas and Donovan Williams back. The wind blows the ball off the tee. It is windier than the forecast called for today, but temperature at game time was about 40 degrees. I I guess you would call it partly cloudy. It could be far worse.
You're absolutely right.
On the 12th month, 13th day, 14th year of the century, by the way.
How about that?
Once a century, right? 12, 13, 14. I don't think we'll be around for the next one. Short kick, fielded on a hop by Gerald Thomas at the 11-yard line, and Ed Shockley's all over it. Returned only 3 yards. So Sam Houston State is backed up, and we will see Jared Johnson, quarterback who completely had his mechanics reworked during a bye week earlier in the season. Casey Keeler went to the bullpen, and he called upon his old college teammate Scott Bruner, former NFL quarterback, who was the quarterback with Casey on a Division II national championship team. He sent Scott the tape of Johnson. Scott worked with him, conference call after conference call, and we will chat with Scott Bruner at halftime about that very subject. Johnson on the option, tosses to Hill, left side, turns the corner, then cuts it back inside and picks up 15 yards for a first down.
And that's not part of this offense. It's a spread offense that Sam Houston has, but there's elements of the triple option left over in this offense from when Willie Fritz was here. Here you see it right here, and a great job. Look at number 44, Deion Hutchinson, with a great job sealing the backside there, allowing some running room for Hill.
Handoff, Hill again. Pushes the pile forward. Picks up 4 yards on the play. Tackle made by Joey Harmon. Keyshawn Hill this year ran for 1,049 yards, 5th most in the Southland Conference. He is a stud.
Yeah, 6.4 yards per carry. He's been getting it done all year.
Very durable. Also a good blocker. Casey Keeler says he does everything well. He blocks. He catches the ball. He's very smart. He has good vision. He has great faith. On the option again, the pitch to Hill, and so no sooner did we talk about how great he is, and he dropped the football, brought back at the 25-yard line, a loss of 8 on the play. What happened there?
When I want to get another look at this, it looked like it was maybe the pitch by Johnson that was a little bit, and again, we're talking a little bit about the wind is maybe a little bit of a factor, but I don't think there. It looked like Hill had just taken his eyes off the pitch as the ball was coming instead of watching it all the way in, a critical mistake.
3rd and 14. Villanova 3-man front. They play what is called a 3-3-5 stack defense.
And movement everywhere. You see those linebackers up in those gaps. They bring pressure from everywhere.
Cherry's blitzing, so a 4-man rush. The pass is caught by Lewis, but he will be about a yard and a half shy of the first down after a 12-yard pickup. Jedediah Lewis, 7th in the Southland Conference in receptions, and the Bearkats will have to punt the football.
Villanova's going to get the ball back with pretty good field position here.
Livers back to return the punt. Return one 67 yards this year against Syracuse. He'll let this one bounce, and it takes a Sam Houston State bounce and will be downed at the about the 3-yard line by the Bearcats. DeMarty Allen was the man who prevented the ball from going into the end zone.
Was his foot on the line? There it is when he touched the ball. They may want to get another look at this. It looked like Allen's left foot was on the line as he was touching the ball from that angle. Okay, here's now his foot's on the line, the ball's in his hand.
But the ball did not break the plane. So.
But the Allen broke the plane, if I'm not mistaken. No.
So Villanova will take over 1st and 10 at the 1-yard line. Benangai is the setback alongside the quarterback Poloni out of the shotgun. Handoff Benangai. Goes off right guard. Gets it out to the 6-yard line. A pickup of 5 on the play. So far, with the exception of that sack when the ball was knocked out of the quarterback's hands on their first possession, the offensive line has played superbly for the Wildcats.
You know, they absolutely have. Nice job blocking on the long touchdown to Livers. And I got to go back. The play where Allen downed the ball is a different rule in the NFL. In the NFL, if any part of your body breaks the plane, the ball then goes back and becomes a touchback. It's different in college football.
And the ball clearly, as we saw in replay, did not break the plane. Never made it across the plane or into the end zone. Here's the handoff. Monangai again. He will get it out to the 10-yard line.
It's hard to tell from there, but it looked like, try to see this angle with the ball, it looked like it did not break the plane.
I don't think it came anywhere near it. So Villanova now 3rd and 1. Handoff Monangai, left side. And he turns the corner and gets the first down. Got just enough of the block from Kevin Bullius, wide receiver.
Pretty simple play calling here. Again, they're doing what they should, which is lean on the running game. And Monangai, some nice job blocking down the field by some of the wide receivers.
5:45 remaining first quarter. Sam Houston 7, Villanova 6. The winner gets the winner of the North Dakota State Coastal Carolina game in the semifinals next weekend. New Hampshire is already in the semifinals. Those Wildcats, ranked #1 in the country, the #1 seed in this playoff, won their quarterfinal game last night over Chattanooga. Handoff, Monangai again, straight up the gut, and gets it out to about the 23-yard line, a pickup of 5. And Villanova's really controlling the line of scrimmage.
Well, they really are, and they're using the entire field. They're going outside runs to the left, outside runs to the right, then coming up the middle, really keeping this defense for Sam Houston off balance.
This game's fascinating because the two coaching staffs know each other so well. Casey Keeler coached against Villanova offensive coordinator Sam Venuto, who was Casey's college teammate at Delaware 12 different times. So he knows what Villanova runs. Villanova knows what Keeler likes to run. Monangai again, another first down out to the 30-yard line. Pick up on the play of 7, 9 carries already for 51 yards.
And he may hit 35 today. It's a nice job. Jacoby Hunter, the nose tackle for Sam Houston, had some penetration, but Monangai with some nice vision, sidestepped it and able to get forward and pick up the first down.
Austin Medley now in the backfield, giving Monangai a blow for the Wildcats. 3 receivers to the left, to the right rather, and 1 to the bottom of your screen. Handoff, Medley pushes it forward and gets 8 more yards out to the 38. Tackle made by Tristan Etchek.
Yeah, they don't lose much when Austin Medley's in the game. Medley's been the counterpart for Monangai for 4 years. They've been in the same backfield together.
Here's Medley again. Great vision. Cuts it back. Another first down. Penalty marker on the play. Penalties have been a huge problem for Villanova this year.
Offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Holding on the left guard Kyle Wallace. Villanova this year 10th in the 12-team CAA in penalty yardage, averaging 64 yards per game.
And you see the guard right there. What he did is he pulled down the nose tackle, Letu. He's got that left arm around him, pulled Letu to the ground. That's why the penalty flag was thrown.
So that will create a 2nd and 3. Medley remains in the backfield. 4-man Sam Houston front. Poloni to throw. Throws the screen to Medley. He goes behind the block of Cruz. Has the first down all the way to the 46-yard line. Very patiently picking up 19 yards. Great block also by the tight end, Doug Terrell, number 97.
When I talked about this in the open, Sam Houston State's got to do a better job tackling on defense. There's 1 missed tackle, 2 missed tackles, 3. The 4th guy finally brings him down. The last week in the win versus Jacksonville State, they really struggled tackling in space.
Monangai back in. They fake the handoff to him. And on the flanker screen, the ball is caught by Aaron Wells for a short pickup of 3 on the play. Wells, a junior from Ellicott City, Maryland, his 16th catch of the year.
And passing-wise, Villanova's going to much quicker passes. It's now not allowing that vicious front 7 and those defensive ends for Sam Houston State, P.J. Hall and Udebo and those guys to really get after the quarterback. Ball's out of the quarterback's hands before they can even get there.
After throwing an incompletion on his first passing attempt. Poloni is now connected on his last 5, and we're going to get a penalty marker and a false start. So 2 penalties on Villanova already on this drive. The flanker, Anthony DiCamillo, called for the false start. Man, you're a flanker. You never want to be called for a false start. There's really no excuse for that.
There you see Poloni, a nice job. Started off bad, but so far after that, he's really put a nice game together here so far.
And the strong running game sure has helped. 2nd and 12. Poloni to throw. Looks right, throws, and it's complete. Ball is caught by DiCamillo. It's called for the penalty in the last play. And the forward progress will give him a first down right at that first down marker. A pickup of a dozen.
And he made that catch over the best cover guy for Sam Houston State, Trenier Orr. It's a nice job finding a little bit of space in the zone. And a good job by Poloni putting the ball in the money.
2:25 remaining. This is already a 10-play Villanova drive, and they just got the ball across midfield. They had an 18-play drive to win the game last week. Took 7 minutes, and they won it on a run with 1:12 left to beat Liberty. Handoff, Manangai, straight up the middle. Tackle made by Muf Adiba after a pickup of 3.
And you make a great point on that, Bob, about how long the drive is. That was one of the game plans for Villanova. I mean, Andy Talley talked about it. He said, hey, they got a lot of fast guys on defense, does Sam Houston State. Let's see how fast they are when it gets to be a 10, 12, 15-play drive and their tongues are dragging a bit.
3 wide receivers to the left. The Bearkats rush 5. Handoff, Manangai gets it to the 40. Pickup of 1. Tackle made by Mike Chapman. Yeah, and when we asked Sam Venuto, is there any team in the CAA, Villanova's league, that has the team-wide speed that the Sam Houston defense has? And he says, no, there isn't.
No, not very big defense, but very fast. And this is interesting because it's 3rd and 6, and we talk about with how bad Villanova's kicked the ball this year. This is 4-down territory for Villanova. They don't have to pick up all 6 yards here on this play.
Everything on this side of the field is 4-down territory. Poloni to throw, being pressured, avoids the rush, gets forward, and will create a much more manageable 4th down situation. Looks like it will be 4th and about 2. Pressure was applied by the safety, Darian Flowers.
And Poloni's doing his best John Robertson impersonation. That's a good job of just finding the open lane, avoiding the rush, and as you said, Bob, making it more manageable now 4th and 2. But clearly they will go for this the whole game today.
Villanova 65% on 4th downs this year, 15 of 23. And now a timeout will be called by Sam Houston State defensively. Will step aside with 31 seconds left and a big 4th down play coming up when we return. Who won a Super Bowl ring with the Indianapolis Colts in the 2006 season. Out of the Sam Houston timeout, 4th and 2 for Villanova. The ball at the Sam Houston 36-yard line with the Wildcats trailing by a point. 2 tight end look. Handoff, Manang. No, the quarterback keeper, Poloni. He's got the first down. He'll get the touchdown. What a great ball fake by Poloni. I'm not the only one who thought Mananga had the ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sam Houston State just stacked the box. Looked like there was at least 8, if not 9 guys expecting to run up the middle. Look at this. Bringing the house up the middle, and a great read by Poloni. Nice job with the block on the outside. And again, Poloni's doing his best John Robertson impersonation.
In to attempt the extra point. And it has been a circus, not a very pleasant one for Villanova, will be Golf. He missed one earlier today. This one, he used all that upright, didn't he? Tucks it inside, and it is good. And Villanova has its first lead of the game with just 23 seconds to go. Remember, that punt pinned them all the way in at the 1-yard line, so it was a 99-yard drive. And the first play on that drive was a 54-yarder.
And you saw on the replay there, I mean, there was like 9 or 10 guys for Sam Houston State all bunched up in the middle. There's another look at it. All going for Manangai, but a great fake, a great job of Poloni riding that ball down in there tight and pulling it out at the last minute. Only one defender he had to beat.
Poloni's second touchdown run of the season. For those of you who joined us late, John Robertson, one of the 3 finalists for the Walter Payton Award, not playing today because of a concussion. He suffered it last Saturday against Liberty. We didn't find out that he had the concussion until yesterday at the walkthrough. He participated in the walkthrough, received medical clearance to participate in the walkthrough, got through the walkthrough okay, but keep in mind a walkthrough is just that. There's no contact at all. But when he woke up this morning, and this is always a possibility with a concussion, he felt dizzy, he felt groggy, so Villanova pulled the plug, and he is not playing. And Chris Poloni so far has stepped in and has thrown a 54-yard touchdown pass and just scored on that 36-yard run on 4th down.
When, as we touched on in the open, both Poloni and John Robertson came in together as freshmen, and Poloni actually beat out John Robertson. They moved Robertson to a redshirt year, thinking that Poloni was going to be the starter. He started 4 games in 2011, came back and started 1 the next year. By then, Robertson took over, and the rest is history. But credit that young man for, kind of being down and out and coming in a huge game so far. Today, Bob, playing very, very well.
Yeah, so he actually won the job from Robertson twice. Once when Robertson was a true freshman, and then the decision was made for Robertson to redshirt that year. That year didn't go, we might point out, didn't go very well for Poloni or Villanova. They went 2-9, 1-7 in the league. Then in spring ball, Poloni won the job from Robertson again when Robertson was a redshirt freshman. He started against Temple, played poorly. They replaced him in the second half, and it's been Robertson's job ever since. The short kickoff returned by Donovan Williams, and he got only 3 yards. Really failed to take advantage of the short kick. Don Cherry with the tackle.
How about that? The middle linebacker, the guy we talked about, the heart and soul of this defense, knows how important of a game this is. So he says, Coach, I want to run down and kick off, and bang. Big time play inside the 20-yard line, setting the tone, pinning Sam Houston State back beyond the 20.
Sam Houston hasn't had the ball very much in this game. Their only touchdown was on a 17-yard drive set up by a blocked punt. Only the 3rd possession. And this could very well, if it's a running play, will likely be the last play of the first quarter. But instead, Johnson drops back to throw. He's looking long downfield for Ladarius Brown. He's got it. And he will be brought down at the Villanova 29-yard line.
And Bob, it's the same matchup Brown had on a touchdown versus the 5'9" cornerback Jason Senius. But credit Johnson there for putting the ball in a nice spot there just out of the reach of the cornerback. But as I said earlier, that's going to be a matchup they're going to continue to go to.
51-yard gain. Keyshawn Hill on indeed the final play of the quarter. We'll get it to the 26-yard line. So a very eventful opening 15 minutes in the first meeting between these two schools. What's at stake? A trip to the FCS semifinals, and it's Villanova by 6 after 1. Lizzie along with former NFL linebacker Rocky Boyman. All set start of the second quarter. FCS quarterfinal at Villanova. Wildcats leading Sam Houston 13-7. 2nd and 7 for the Bearkats at the Villanova 26 to begin the quarter. On the draw, the handoff to Hill, and he gets nowhere. Big Pat Williams made the stop, and Williams, according to Andy Talley, is his best defensive lineman against the run.
Well, he really is. He clogs up the middle, 6 foot, 287, just like you want a nose tackle to be built. But also very quick, good footwork, uses his hands well. He's going to be key stopping those interior runs today by Sam Houston. 3rd
down and 8. Keep in mind that unlike Villanova, Sam Houston has an outstanding place kicker. Casey Keeler says that Swinbaragay has range of 52 yards. Johnson back to throw, being pressured, moving forward in the pocket. He escapes. He'll be stopped short of the first down, just outside the 20. Pickup of 7, and it will be 4th, and it looks like about 2 feet.
And 88 Reggie Parrish almost got the arm on him, but credit John. And this is what Jared Johnson does. He runs and creates yards with his legs, but just short of the first down. But it looks like they're going to go for it here, Bob.
They are 11 for 20 on 4th downs this year. Out of the shotgun, 3-man Villanova front. Johnson, option, pitches. Cut back, Donovan Williams, and he has the first down. Williams is the best blocker in that backfield. So that's why he was in instead of Hill, but he can also run the ball. He ran for 212 yards against Houston Baptist.
And he picked up a nice block by 19 right there. Gerald Thomas, the wide receiver, wasn't a great block, didn't throw him on the ground, but just enough to allow the runner to get forward for the first down.
Handoff, Williams again. This time may have picked up a yard on the play. Sam Houston, on its only trip into the red zone this year, scored a touchdown. That means in 55 trips to the red zone this year, Rocky, they have 37 touchdowns and 12 field goals. Outstanding.
Yeah.
2 wide receivers to the left and 1 to the right on second down. He tosses to the left. It is caught by Gerald Harris, and bringing him down for a loss on the play is Jerry Miles back at the 11-yard line, or pickup of 4 on the play.
And that's the basis of what Sam Houston's offense really is. They run the ball well with the 3 running backs, but also just get the ball to the weapons in space. They sure got a bunch of them, Edwards and Thomas and Lewis and Brown, but a nice job by Jerry Miles tackling in space, and that is going to be key for Villanova. Can they tackle these explosive wide receivers, these explosive playmakers in space for 60 minutes?
Close to the goal line, they like to take advantages of Brown's size and throw it to him in the end zone. Instead, Johnson on the keeper will get the first down. He faked the handoff. And it looks like the ball will be spotted inside the 11, and that's enough for a Sam Houston first down.
Nice. Look at the explosion right there, and then just hit it. Finally found the open lane and then hit it.
First and goal, Bearcats trying to regain the lead.
There's Brown, the top of your screen on Senius again.
Handoff, Hill. And Ed Shockley got him around the ankles for about a 1-yard loss. Reggie Paris shaken up on the play. And coming out to take a look, athletic trainer Tyler Waite. Paris is Villanova's best pass rushing defensive lineman, 6'3", 245-pound junior from Pemberton, New Jersey.
And when I was at walkthrough yesterday, I'm thinking, who's that guy? He looked pretty good out there. Also, their other defensive end, Tano Passignon, 92. There's 88, Paris on the left side. We'll see what happens. Looks like he just gets rolled up a little bit. One of the offensive linemen rolling the back of his leg there.
So Passignon will replace it. And Ashikai will switch to the other end spot. Second and goal to go from the 6 for Sam Houston, who has run off 7 consecutive wins since losing back on October 18th to Northwestern State.
5 wide, spreading the field.
And in motion, Williams now lines up in the backfield. Quarterback draw, design play. Johnson tripped up on the play by McCann. Penalty marker on the play. Villanova is indicating it's going to be holding against Sam Houston.
56, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Zachary Stevens, the center, called for the hold. Boy, that changes the play calling.
Certainly does. You see the center. Yeah, see, he's making the case that he had the hands inside the framework of the body, but his body got extended, and it shows those hands. When the referee sees those hands holding him, that's when the flag comes out.
That's what you linebackers always say.
So they're holding every play, Bob. That's what I used to always say.
You guys have a union, you guys. Lifetime membership. Poor offensive line.
Always holding.
3-man Villanova front. Johnson to throw, good protection, throws to his left, incomplete, a little bit behind the intended receiver Derek Edwards. Late flag throw, very late.
I think they're going to get a late hit. Take a look at the replay here. The ball is
after the play.
Yeah, that's a few steps.
Joey
Defense, late hit, number 15. After this, it's the goal.
Well, whether or not you thought it was a penalty, it was at the very least unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it is very costly for Villanova. Instead of backing Sam Houston up and putting him in a 3rd and long, half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down. Huge penalty.
Yeah, there was clearly enough time for Joey Harmon to pull back on that and not hit the wide receiver, Edwards.
Sam Houston a year ago made the FCS playoffs, defeated Southern Utah in the first round, then lost a heartbreaker on a last-minute touchdown at conference brethren Southeastern Louisiana in the second round. Bubble screen. Goes to Lewis. Gets it inside the 5. Pick up a 5. They're going to mark the ball at the 3. Tackle made by Malik Reeves.
Talked about the youth for Sam Houston State. Yeti Lewis, one of their best wide receivers, just a redshirt freshman this year, up for freshman of the year in the South.
Handoff. Oh, Overstreet. Drilled.
Guess who? My
Big
guy.
Don Cherry. Well, Andy Talley, you could just, over the phone line, you could just see his smile on his face when we were chatting when he talked about Cherry. He said, he's the best defensive player in our league. He analyzes extremely well. He makes plays from sideline to sideline. 3rd and goal from the 4. Keyshawn Hill back in the backfield for the Bearcats. 2 receivers to the left and 2 to the right. 3-man Villanova front. And they rush 3. Johnson throwing, end zone, touchdown. It is caught by Gerald Thomas, his 6th touchdown catch of the season. And we have our second lead change of the game. Back and forth the lead goes.
Yeah, they went man-to-man here, so they did a nice crossing route, did Sam Houston State, and got just inside and out of the reach of the defensive back, Joe Sarnice. Again, great play call, recognizing man-to-man defense, and that's what you do. When they weren't playing man, you try some crossing routes, try to confuse those guys on the back end, and nice job of Johnson hitting him.
Swinberga for the extra point. Swinberga with 110 points this season, 5th most in the Southland Conference. Thomas, a 183-pound junior from Colony, Texas, puts the Bearcats back on top. Welcome back to the NCAA FCS Football Championship, presented by Northwestern Mutual. Sam Houston State has just regained the lead 14-13 over Villanova on a 4-yard touchdown pass from Jared Johnson to Gerald Thomas. The first play of the drive was a 51-yard completion to Ladarius Brown. 80-yard drive, 12 plays, 5 minutes and 24 seconds, and the drive aided considerably, Rocky, on a huge personal foul call on Joey Harmon of the Wildcats.
Yeah, and clearly he had enough time to pull up there, and that's just an awful mistake to make, especially so close to the end zone.
Short kick will be taken by Shane Jones, a reserve wide receiver, and he returns it all the way to the Sam Houston 42-yard line. Tackle made by Ridgeway Frank. Opening day for Villanova. Wild one at the Carrier Dome. All they needed was this Chris Goff field goal to win it at the end of regulation, and he missed it. Andy Talley couldn't believe it. Instead, they go into overtime. And in the second overtime, on the fake, the punter, the holder, Riley Dixon throws a touchdown pass to Kendall Moore. Syracuse up 7. In Villanova, John Robertson to Gary Underwood. Makes it 27-26. Villanova 2-point conversion attempt fails. Robertson stopped at the 4-yard line by defensive end Robert Welsh. And Syracuse wins it 27-26 in double overtime. On first down, handoff, Manangai takes it around the right end, gets it out to midfield, pickup of 8 on the play. There's Chris Goff. It's been a rough day for him, and Andy Talley, he may never get over that loss to Syracuse. He's certainly not over it yet.
Well, those kids deserve to win that game. They outplayed Syracuse, and as you can see how big of a factor it's been. 2 losses this year, each of them by 1 point.
The other loss was a 1-point loss to Richmond, the lone league loss, and that cost them a chance to share the CAA title. Play fake, Poloni, similar play to the one he scored the touchdown on. This time he'll settle for a first down at the Sam Houston 45. Chris Poloni making his 6th career start today. Already 10 first downs for Andy Talley's Wildcats. Andy in his 30th year as the coach at Villanova. He took over a program that had been shut down. They were dark for 4 years, and they started back up in 1985 with him at the helm, and he's still there.
Been here ever since. What a great job he's done. Not only getting this program back, but also keeping it going, and been a nice program for a long time.
Won the national championship in 2009. Monangai, a little jitterbug step. Managed to pick up 2 on the play. Tackle made by P.J. Hall, and what a tremendous first year Hall has had with the Bearkats.
And he's a guy, when he came in, they thought about putting him at tight end, and they know he was an athlete, but they said, okay, we'll put him at defensive end. Clearly, Bob, that was the right call, because as a freshman, he's been virtually unstoppable.
He's one of the finalists for the Jerry Rice Award, which goes to the best freshman in the country. He was named the Freshman of the Year in the Southland Conference. And he already has a sack today. Fakes the handoff to Monangai. What happened there? Is that the design play and just executed poorly?
I'm not quite sure what happened. Looked like maybe Monangai had gone the wrong way. There we see P.J. Hall. He's got great fast twitch muscle fibers. You see him when he rushes off that edge. He's usually always the first one off the ball and just screams upfield, makes it really tough on those offensive tackles, Brad Seaton and Vince Kowalski for Villanova.
Is that last play possibly a byproduct of having a backup quarterback?
I think that's definitely a factor. Something like that, things like that are going to happen today, because Poloni clearly hasn't had all the reps this year.
3rd and 7. Poloni, here they come on the blitz. He gets rid of it, but it's deflected. Darian Flowers applied the pressure. Poloni did a good job of getting rid of the ball quickly, but it didn't get to the receiver because it was knocked down.
Yeah, Darian Flowers, you see him comes there right off the offense's left side. Just enough to affect Poloni. It was also tipped at the line of scrimmage, so a nice job by Sam Houston State's defense forcing a punt.
Well, John Hinchin's first punt today was a disaster. It was blocked, and Sam Houston took over at the Villanova 17. This time he gets it off. Fair catch called for by Gerald Thomas, and it is down inside the 5-yard line. Great job getting down the field by the long snapper, Connor Linden. He's the one that kept the ball out of the end zone, but there is a penalty marker on the play. 37-yard punt, no return.
Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield on the kicking team. The 5-yard penalty be added to the end of the run. First down, Sam Houston.
So there's the explanation from referee Tim O'Day. Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield, but instead it will be 5 yards at the end of the play. Let's go back to that botched handoff on 2nd down.
It just wasn't close enough, but it looked like it was a read option play, but if the mesh point between the handoff of the quarterback and the running back isn't sold, the defense clearly knows the quarterback's going to keep the ball, and Sam Houston State wasn't fooled.
So now Sam Houston is going to exercise its option to force Villanova to re-kick the ball instead of taking the 5 yards at the end of the play. We want to see if, well, first of all, see if he can get the punt off without getting it blocked again, and secondly, see if he can do it again, see if he can pin him in again from 5 yards further back. Hinchin has pinned in the opponent inside the 20 12 times this year. Young man from Australia. Makes his home in Saddle River, New Jersey. Good snap, good protection. Not as good of a kick. Thomas from his own 9. Turns the corner. Still on his feet. So that penalty was worth about 27 yards in field position, but there's another penalty marker on the play. This one will probably come back for an illegal block on the Bearkats.
During the return, block in the back, return team number 47. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
So Josh Lyons has made one great play on special teams when he blocked a punt, and one really bad one there with that illegal block. And instead of getting the ball at the 31-yard line, it will come back all the way to the 8-yard line.
Yeah, they seem right there toward the end, hitting the Villanova player in the back.
Hit Shane Jones between the 1 and the 3 on his back. Sam Houston ball, and we come back. Welcome back to the NCAA FCS Football Championship, presented by Northwestern Mutual. I'm Bob Picozzi. along with former NFL linebacker Rocky Boyman. Spent most of his 8 years with Tennessee Titans, but spent 2 years with the Indianapolis Colts. And boy, you picked the right 2 years to be their partner. They're on that championship team in 2006.
Boy, what a year. Every kid's dream, right?
We chatted over dinner last night. Mr. Boyman, like many people in this country, is a huge fan of one Peyton Manning, who was your teammate for 2 years.
That's right. Unbelievable guy, tremendous competitor. And you see, even at, what is he now, 38 years old, every day wants to get better at his craft.
Before the ball is snapped, a delay of game. Now that, I mean, most delay of games are inexcusable, but when you come out of a timeout.
Yeah. 15. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Both teams very, very sloppy with the penalties when you consider the success they've had this year and the fact that they're deep in the playoffs, committing a number of these unforced errors. So that will back up the Bearcats all the way to the 4. 2 wide receivers to the left and 1 to the right on first down. On the keeper, Johnson tries to get outside, won't get there. Matt McCann, the junior safety from Pittsburgh. 2-yard loss.
What a nice job by Matt McCann. Watch, you see on the right side of the screen, there's number 30. Takes on the lead block there by the fullback, Deion Hutchinson, sheds the block and makes an excellent play on the outside. Great job by Matt McCann, the junior.
5th tackle for a loss already for Villanova. Johnson out of the shotgun on 2nd and 16 from his own end zone. Looking long downfield for Brown, and he's got it. Brown will be brought down at the 38-yard line. Pickup of 37 yards. Brown already with a 50-yard reception, a 3-yard touchdown reception.
And at some point, Villanova is going to have to put someone different than Jason Senius on Brown. It's the 3rd time that's happened. They see that matchup. Sam Houston State goes to it.
The bubble screen to Yeti Lewis, and that didn't work at all. Villanova all over that play. Lewis, a fascinating story, a young man from New Orleans. His family was displaced by Hurricane Katrina. They relocated to live with a relative in Dallas. He liked it there. When it was okay to move back home into a new home in New Orleans, they did so, and he convinced his mother to move the family back to the Dallas area. He said he liked it there, felt the neighborhood wasn't all that safe in New Orleans, went to high school in Richardson, Texas, and then walked on at Sam Houston State and has earned a scholarship.
Yeah, how about that? Tremendous story. Perseverance.
Overstreet with a 1-yard gain. 3rd down and 8.
Gonna go man here. Brown up at the top for Sam Houston.
Johnson to look, throws across the middle. Out of the hands of Lewis, overthrew him just a little bit. That's his first incompletion of the afternoon. He had been 8 for 8 for 115 yards.
And he was looking to go to Ladarius Brown on the outside. He was manned up by the freshman, by Malik Reeves. But just a bit of an error throw. Now going to be a punt.
So into punt will be Brad Donovan. Rugby punts at 75% of the time. Hoppy Liverts is back. And he is a genuine threat. Livers fair catch. Now he'll let it bounce. Penalty marker is resting 2 of them, both on the far side of the field. So we will have to sort this out. One of the officials is signaling holding on the punting team. Unless he pointed the wrong way.
During the kick, holding, return team, number 27. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick, first down.
So he was pointing the wrong way. His holding, but it's on Malik Reeves of Villanova. There's Casey Keeler, spent 11 years at Delaware, and then he was fired suddenly, surprisingly. He took Delaware to a national championship and 3 trips to the national championship. So, unfortunately,
this.
I mean, The worst part about him getting fired is he was stuck with me for 5 games in the booth for ESPN last year.
Now, Bob, the guy on the left looks pretty dapper, right? He's got the tan suit on, the brown suit, and I don't know about the guy on the right. I don't know about him.
I don't know, but, Rocky, this is our first game going together.
Right.
You could find yourself coaching
yeah, how about
that?
that?
Quarterfinals next year.
There you go.
Casey could not wait to get out of the booth after spending all that time with me. He said, let me out of here.
That's funny.
Handoff on first down. Goes to Hill. Picks up a couple of yards. Casey Keeler, the head coach at Delaware, as we said, won a national championship in his second year. Went to the finals 2 more times. One of those times, by the way, with Joe Flacco. Before that, he was at Division III Rowan University in New Jersey, and he took them to the NCAA championship game 5 times. He played on a national championship team at Delaware, Division II national championship team as a linebacker in 1979. So he was a legacy hire at Delaware. On second down, the ball is caught by Livers, makes the first man miss, and made the most out of the situation out to the 25-yard line. 2003 was when they won the national championship, and that's why, he was in the national championship game in 2010. 2 years later, he got fired. There was a new president, a new athletic, and brand new athletic director. It was stunning when it happened. Might point out Delaware has not had much success in the 2 years since he's been gone.
That's true. Maybe.
And his first year at Sam Houston State, with a tremendous turnover in personnel. They had 18 guys starting on opening day who didn't even play spring football. He has them in the quarterfinals of the national tournament.
Yeah, he's done a heck of a job. He's had a lot of transfers, had a lot of injuries in the spring. He's really done a good job keeping this team together after they started the season 1-3.
On third down, Poloni and Livers just dropped the ball.
And Livers, man, he wishes he had that one back because he had a ton of running room had he caught it. You'll see on the replay, look, there's nobody out there. He's clearly going to get the first down.
Wildcats just 1 for 5 on third down. So in the punt will be Hinchin. And back deep to return will be Gerald Thomas at his own 35-yard line. Villanova punting teams have 1 punt blocked. They were called for a costly penalty on another one, which nullified a pin them in punt at the 4-yard line. This one will drive Thomas back to the 29-yard line. Tries to get outside. McCann missed him the first time. He didn't miss him the second time. That reminded me of a young Boyman on special teams for Tennessee, huh?
You'll give him the first time, give him the second time.
Yeah, that's right. 46-yard punt, 2-yard return. It's Sam Houston 14, Villanova 13. Chris Poloni, the senior, chatting with John Robertson, out with a concussion. This is what has happened so far in the quarterfinals. Last night, top-seeded New Hampshire beat Chattanooga. They will play the winner of today's Eastern Washington-Illinois State game. Winner of this one will get the winner of the North Dakota State-Coastal Carolina game. North Dakota State, the 3-time defending national champ, leads Coastal Carolina 31-20 in the third quarter. On first down, handoff goes to Hill. If somehow Coastal Carolina upsets North Dakota State, and if Villanova wins today, the Wildcats would have an outstanding chance of being named the host of the other semifinal. But that would be a significant upset for anyone to beat North Dakota State.
Absolutely.
They won the last 3 national titles. Handoff, Hill, he gets nowhere. Cherry is all over him.
And Bob, that was going to be a flea flicker. But the penetration by Villanova stopped that play before it could get going. And smartly, watch the replay here. He hands off to Hill, and it looks like he's going to go back because Derek Edwards on the outside, the wide receiver, was streaking down the field. But again, credit Don Cherry and company for stopping that play before the flea flicker could get started.
Biggest play of the game last night in New Hampshire's win was a flea flicker.
There's like 3 flea flickers on that one.
Went for a touchdown.
That's right.
Johnson scrambles, being chased by Harmon. Look at him run. He's got the first down. And oh, he is drilled inside the 40. Right along the Bearcats sideline. The Bearcats want a penalty, and they're getting one. There's going to be a late hit. We see a flag.
And look at the speed by Johnson here. And this is why he's so dangerous. Nice job of coverage down the field, but just the speed to outrun Joey Harmon. And then right there at the end, as he's starting to go out of bounds. And whether you think that's a penalty or not, that's a play that's going to get called every time in college football these days.
Cameron McCurry, 30-yard pickup. Also a great downfield block thrown by the wide receiver Derek Edwards. So there's a great example of how Johnson, when the play breaks down, can make something happen because of his legs.
That's why he's so dangerous.
1st and 10 at the 39. Villanova 39. Johnson, quick toss to Thomas. Pickup of 4 to the 35-yard line. Joe Sarnice made the stop. Andy Talley, Villanova coach, said of Casey Keeler, he certainly knows us from his Delaware days. We've been good friends for a long time. I'm glad he's back in coaching. Quick toss again to the other side to Yeti Lewis. He'll be stopped at the 34. Interesting, we chatted with Villanova's 2 coordinators this week, and we asked them the same question. We asked offensive coordinator Sam Venuto, does Sam Houston do a lot of stuff on defense that Casey Keeler did at Delaware? He said yes. When we chatted with defensive coordinator Villanova Billy Crocker, we asked him, does Casey Keeler do a lot of things on offense that he did at Delaware? He said not really. It's a different scheme.
Different scheme, yeah. Different players, different scheme.
Johnson looking long up the sideline, and Edwards came back and made the catch. Ball was underthrown, and Edwards reacted well, cutting back inside Jason Senius for the big gain.
And the sophomore cornerback for Villanova, Jason Senius, is having a tough day. It's been 3 times by Brown this time. The ball's a little bit underthrown, but Senius did not find it in the air in time, and Derek Edwards reacted back and came up with the play.
21-yard pickup, and Casey Keeler is going to use his 2nd timeout with 1:19 remaining in the half.
Again, every time they see man-to-man coverage by Jason Senius singled up on the outside, Jared Johnson is going for the deep ball. Again, the ball a little bit underthrown, but Derek Edwards a nice job adjusting to it, coming back to the ball and coming up with the catch. Edwards
is a transfer from Texas Tech, one of many transfers that have helped Sam Houston State jump out to this 10-4 record this year. All of them from FBS programs. Trey Orr, first-team All-League cornerback. We've seen what Ladarius Brown can do today. He's already got a touchdown catch and 2 big receptions.
Yeah, he's been a huge factor today, a nice target. And as I talked about earlier, it's just 2 different philosophies. Villanova, Andy Talley doesn't bring in transfers. He says it upsets the chemistry, but Casey Keeler knew he has to come in and turn that program around quick, and he brings in the transfers. It's working for him.
18 guys started on opening day against Eastern Washington who didn't even play spring football. And on the defensive side of the ball, they only have 2 starters back from last season.
And most importantly, Jared Johnson didn't start at quarterback in the spring game.
Johnson scrambles. Late pitch on the option. Hill dropped the football. It rolls out of bounds, so it will be Bearkats' ball. But they will lose 3 yards on the play. That's the 2nd time he's dropped the pitch.
This is the 2nd time this has happened. Not sure if he's taking his eyes off the ball just a split second before the ball comes, but walking back to the huddle, Hill clearly said, look, that's my bad on that play.
2nd down and 13 from the 15-yard line.
And when you get in the red zone, you like to think you want to go a little bit more north-south and instead of calling an east-west pitch play like they did there.
Handoff, Hill up the middle, ran into his own blocker and is stopped at the 15, no gain. So now it will be 3rd and 13 with a minute to go and 1 timeout remaining. Remember, they have an outstanding kicker, so they are well within the field goal range of Luke Swinberge, who's 15 for 17 field goal attempts this year.
Derek Edwards matched up man-to-man over Senius on the bottom of your screen. Darius Brown singled up on top.
Johnson throws. Thomas looked like there was definitely confusion on it. Thomas didn't expect the ball. He dropped it. They were all over him anyway. It's unlikely he would have had a gain anyway. So Swinberge will come on to attempt the field goal. It'll be about a 32-yarder.
And it looked like Thomas was expecting it was going to be a fake, and they were going to hit Derek Edwards up the sideline. for the touchdown, but Edwards was covered up, so then Johnson tries to come back to Gerald Thomas, and he was not expecting the football.
Swinberger to attempt the field goal. He's 12 for 12 inside the 40-yard line this year. This will be a 32-yarder. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is right down the middle. And we were chatting throughout the week that one significant difference between these two teams is that Sam Houston has an enormous advantage in the kicking game.
Yeah, very evenly matched both offensively and defensively. But in playoff games, Bob, how many times have you seen it? These games always come down to a lot of times who has the ball last and who can convert on the kicking game. Sam Houston stayed clearly with the advantage in that.
Coming up at halftime, we will look at the dismantling of the football program at UAB, and we'll have a chat with former NFL quarterback Scott Bruner, who was Casey Keeler's teammate on a Division II national championship team in Delaware. And Scott runs a quarterback training business on the side. So when Casey Keeler thought his young quarterback Jared Johnson was struggling with his mechanics early in the season, he put out a call to his old college roommate and said, "I'm going to send you a tape. Let me know what you think."
That's right.
They had a number of conference calls among Casey, the offensive coordinator Phil Longo, and Scott. And we will tell you about the outcome of those conference calls when we chat with Scott at halftime.
And I love what Keeler talked about during the reworking time of Jared Johnson. He said, I stood literally 3 feet behind Jared Johnson for an entire month. Every pass he threw with instant feedback. Hey, good job, good read, bad throw. Do better with your feet. Don't take your left hand off the ball for a month straight. And finally, he got the right mechanics down for Jared Johnson. He's really looked pretty good today.
Yeah, those are the two things that they kept repeating. Keep your left hand on the ball, move those feet. Squib kick will be returned by Joe Sarnice. Gets it out to the 36-yard line, so that stops the clock. 3 timeouts left, 24 seconds left. A senior quarterback, but someone who has hardly played at all this year. Do you just take a knee or do you try to attack?
I think so. I mean, they have 3 timeouts, but again, without your stud, John Robertson, in the game.
And without any kind of field goal threat.
Without a field goal threat, and also without, the wide receivers for Villanova are good. They're more possession guys. They don't really have a guy that's just to take the top off the defense, really, other than Kevin Goulias. So I imagine they'll be somewhat conservative here.
I don't believe they've targeted Goulias once today, have they?
They have not.
This time they throw down the middle, and it's caught by Lincoln Collins. Clock stops while they advance the chains. I mean, Villanova can use a timeout. They have 3 of them. That's not an issue. There's really no reason to let any time go off the clock when you have 3 timeouts, only 16 seconds left,
Yeah, I would have
right?
used one there.
Poloni throws. It's complete and caught. And going out of bounds is Livers to stop the clock with 9 seconds left.
And that cost them a good 3 or 4 seconds by not calling the timeout there.
Could be the difference between an extra play.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to go into the end zone here with 9 seconds left?
9 seconds. It's, that's enough time for 2 plays, but being how far they are back on the field, I think you maybe have an opportunity for one more quick shot to the outside part of the field, call a timeout, and maybe with 3 or 4 seconds left, then one more shot. Because again, they're not going to, I don't think, try a field goal in this case. Either way,
you can bet on that. You'll be kicking a field goal before Chris Goff is. He'll scramble. This will be the last play of the half, probably. Let's see. He got the first down. They'll use the timeout. Clock says 1 second left. Line of scrimmage is the 30.
Villanova has called their first timeout of the half.
Well, they're going to send Goff out there, so I'm wrong. They're going to try a 47-yard field goal attempt, and if he makes it, we owe him a big apology.
That's exactly right.
So here are the numbers on Goff this year. He's 1 for 1 between the 40 and the 49-yard line. 2 for 3 between the 20 and the 29. 0 for 2 between the 30 and the 39. Overall, 3 for 6. Their 2 kickers combined, Goff and Steve Weiler, are a combined 4 for 9. And remember, Goff, as we saw in the highlight earlier this half, missed a game-winning 25-yard field goal at the end of regulation at Syracuse on opening day, and then they went on to lose the game in overtime.
This just seems fishy to me. You have to wonder if there's a fake possibility here, because this is no way a play that gives Talley a lot of confidence here.
And Cody Pittman, who is today's backup quarterback, is the holder. The wind is at his back, 46-yarder. There's the snap. The kick is up. How about that?
Unbelievable.
Chris Goff, you have our sincere apologies. When he's trying those extra points, he's too close. You know, it's like some guys, they can make the 15-foot putts.
Right, exactly.
They can't make the 2-footers.
Or the wide receiver that misses the wide open catch and then jumps over 3 guys and makes the tough one. It's the same thing. Unbelievable. Chris Goff lines up, and it's like he's been doing it all season, right down the middle. Good for that young man who's had such a tough season, coming up with a critical field goal here in the playoffs.
So a 46-yard field goal by Goff on the final play of the half pulls Villanova within 1. The Wildcats without their starting quarterback, John Robertson, leading candidate for the Walter Payton Award. And joining us on the sideline is Sam Houston State coach Casey Keeler. Casey, Bob Picozzi, and Rocky Boyman up in the booth. When did you find out that John Robertson would not be playing today?
Just prior to the game. And you know, it didn't really affect us because played against Poloni before, and he's a very good football player. He actually was their starter as a freshman, and then Robertson beat him out. So, you know, they're going to do the same things. I thought they've done a great job running the football right at us. We have to do a better job with that. And obviously there's some mismatches outside at the receiver position we have to take advantage of. You know, we've been a little conservative trying to pound the ball on them, trying to wear them down, but they've done a great job with the run defense.
Yeah, Coach, defensively, Villanova playing pretty well. What do you think the key is offensively here coming out in the third quarter?
Yeah, you know, we have some mismatches in the outside. You know, we're going to have the wind in our face probably the first in that third quarter, and then wind to our back in the fourth quarter. We have to take advantage of Derek Edwards and the big Puma, Ladarius Brown. Those 2 guys really have to get more involved. They made some big plays for us already, but that's where the mismatch is. They've done a great job running to our perimeter game. They've done a great job with the run defense. We need to take advantage of some shots on the outside.
Casey, thanks for joining us. If you get bored in the second half, you know, we have your old headset up here. Right?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Casey Keeler, the head coach at Sam Houston State. It's halftime in our NCAA FCS Football Championship quarterfinal. With the score, Sam Houston State 17 and the Villanova Wildcats 16. We'll be back with our halftime report right after this. Welcome back to the NCAA FCS Football Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. At the half, Sam Houston State leads Villanova 17-16. Moments ago, we had a chance to chat with Villanova coach Andy Talley. We're joined by Villanova coach Andy Talley on the sideline. Andy, Bob Picozzi, and Rocky Boyman up in the booth. Just how much of an adjustment did you have to make on short notice without knowing that John Robertson would be able to go today, Andy?
Well, you changed my thoughts on the kicking game. You know, on fourth down, I normally would go for it. Now, you know, I'm going to try to kick the ball. We had the wind there at the end of the second quarter, so, you know, we gave a shot and hit the 37-yarder. But, you know, we had to scheme Chris up real quick.
Coach, you've done a good job defensively. For the most part, stopping Sam Houston State, but Jared Johnson, their quarterback, made a few plays, extended some plays with his legs. What's the key to stopping him here in the third and fourth quarter?
Well, you know, I think we just got to continue to try to play stout defense and, you know, make him get in third down situations, third and long. You know, he's a good passer, but he's not a great passer. And with the wind, it's a little tough out here today.
Thanks for joining us, Andy.
My pleasure.
It will be Sam Houston ball to begin the second half. There's Chris Goff. Andy Talley alluding to his decision to allow Goff to attempt a 46-yard field goal on the final play of the half. He nailed it. The kick is way short. Kicking into the wind on the kickoff. It's Gerald Thomas. Gets it around the left side. He gets a block from Donovan Hill and brings it all the way to the 48-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds by Matt McCann. Great field position, Rocky, for the Bearcats.
Absolutely, but here comes a late flag. So many penalties here in this game so far.
4 on Sam Houston State and 6 on Villanova in the first half, together combining for 75 yards in penalties.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, return team number 25, 15-yard penalty, first down Sam Houston State. That is number 25's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
So they called it on Jarrell Oliver. I wonder if they may have gotten the number wrong here.
And I'm wondering if it was after the play, just a little bit more, some extracurriculars after the play that drew the penalty. I didn't see anything on the replay that jumped out.
No. So it will cost them 15 yards and back it up to their own 34-yard line. And from there, Jared Johnson. We spoke at halftime with Scott Bruner about how they tried to retool Jared's game early in the season when they had a very unusual break in the schedule, which we'll tell you about. Fakes the handoff, looking long, looking downfield for Ladarius Brown. He's open inside the 20. A stiff arm by Brown, and he's in the end zone for the touchdown. 66-yard touchdown as he beats Jason Senius again, and Brown has made 3 huge plays today.
Bob, what did Casey Keeler, Sam Houston's coach, say coming into halftime here? They love the matchups on the outside. They love this in the first half. And again, Ladarius Brown over Jason Senius. Villanova has got to find a different matchup because this is going to continue to happen. Such a size advantage. Ladarius Brown 6'2" over the 5'9" Jason Senius. I've said it probably 6 times a day. But they're clearly going to keep taking advantage of that until they give Senius some help or change up the matchup.
Swimberiga in to attempt the extra point. Ladarius Brown has 4 catches for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's the second week in a row in the playoffs he has a 2-touchdown catch day. And
it was a 2-man route. Again, they were going for Ladarius Brown the entire time, and just look at Brown create the separation from Senius. It wasn't even so much the size advantage on that play. It was just the separation that Brown got away from the corner.
3rd touchdown pass of the game for Jared Johnson, the sophomore from Grand Prairie, Texas. 21 touchdown passes. Casey Keeler told us during the week about Johnson. He said we kept staying on him to keep his left hand on the ball, to move his feet, and I'm so proud of the way he developed. And they really had the opportunity to rework his game during the season, Rocky, because of a quirk in the schedule. The Eastern Washington game got moved up to August 23rd. It was literally the first Division I game in the country this year. They played 3 weeks in a row, had a week off, played Colorado State Pueblo, had another week off, and played, and then so they had a week off on both sides of the Lamar game. So in a span of 27 days, they had only 1 game. That's where they called in Scott Bruner from the bullpen to look at the tape, to try to rework his mechanics, and they really retooled Johnson's game during the season.
Oh, and remember, such a young team. They treated that month off there, Bob, as basically a glorified second spring ball or a glorified training camp. Really allowed them to work with these young players, most notably the quarterback, Jared Johnson.
Kickoff is out of bounds, so by rule it will
come out to the 30. That's, in my opinion, one of the most inexcusable penalties in football.
Ball went out of the end zone, so it's a touchback. And
it is a touchback. Okay.
College football, the touchback, they changed the rule a couple years ago, comes out to the 25-yard line.
Couldn't tell. It looked like it might have gone out snuck in the
So,
corner.
Poloni will take over. And Villanova now finds itself down by 8. Poloni, play fake, looks to throw and does across the middle. He has his man Kevin Goulias, who had been very, very quiet until that catch.
And Kevin Goulias is their big play wide receiver, averaging about 25 yards per catch. It's important that they get Goulias going on this.
Handoff Monangai. Goulias had a huge game last week in the win over Liberty. He caught a 70-yard touchdown pass, and he also had an 87-yard reception that didn't go for a touchdown. That's the longest pass completion in Villanova's school history. And that was his first catch of the day 2 plays ago. Went the entire first half without even being targeted. For those of you who were not with us at the start of the game, John Robertson, one of 3 finalists for the Walter Payton National Player of the Year Award, out of the game for Villanova, their quarterback with a concussion. So Chris Poloni, a senior, making his 6th career start and his first this season. On first down, Poloni throws. On second down, rather, the ball is caught by Petway, knocked out of bounds at the 49-yard line.
It really wasn't a great pass by Poloni on that play. Credit Petway for adjusting. You'll see just a nice job reaching out. And Petway, he was coming off he had a knee injury for about 6 weeks. And just now getting back in the flow here with a couple catches today.
1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. The setback is Monangai out of the shotgun. 4-man rush. The handoff goes to Monangai. He goes off left guard and gets it all the way to the Sam Houston 42-yard line before P.J. Hall ran him down.
Nice job, just a little zone play off to the left there. A nice block by Kyle Wallace, the left guard, just sealing off the edge, creating a little bit of a window there for Monangai to run through.
They have 3 receivers and the tight end all bunched to the bottom of your screen. On the keeper, Poloni, who ran for a touchdown on a 4th down play fake in the first half, got nothing there. That time Villanova had no one lined up outside the right tackle.
Yeah, they had a formation into the boundary, something you don't see that much. Now, spread teams will use that formation in the boundary at times to try to create an alignment error by the defense, but it was the penetration by Sam Houston State on that play that caused the disruption.
Villanova 8th in the country entering the day on 3rd down conversions with Robertson, 1 for 5 without him today. They convert this one. Monangai will get it to the 37, but there's a penalty marker on the play on the far sideline. Could this be a illegal formation again? Flag resting right alongside the line of scrimmage, and a long discussion among the officials.
Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
2nd time today Villanova has been called for having 5 men in the backfield. 7th penalty on the Wildcats.
And it looks like just trying to count the 5th guy. There's 1, 2 come from the outside. Probably another case of the tackle was not
the right tackle.
Yeah, it looked like the right tackle. Kowalski may have been too far off the line of scrimmage.
He's first team All-Leaguer too. So instead of converting on that 3rd down, they got to do it again, this time from 7 yards. In motion is Poppy Livers. Poloni to throw. Good protection. Scrambles. Will take off with the ball, and he'll be run out of bounds by that man, P.J. Hall, at the 47-yard line.
Well,
Cover sack?
Yeah. Well, Letu did a nice job. You see 96 coming in and forced Poloni to escape, and there was just there you saw the team speed right there, Bob, with Hall leading the charge.
Casey Keeler says of Hall, he's dynamic, he's quick, he's powerful, he loves to compete. He finds a way to get to the quarterback. He's always around the football. Hinchin into punt. His first punt of the day was blocked, and it gave Sam Houston the ball at the Villanova 17-yard line, and they turned it into 7 points. This one is just an awful kick. Right down the middle of the field, will roll to a stop at the 20-yard line, and Sam Houston will take over from there. The Bearkats have their biggest lead of the day, but it's only 8. It's still a 1-score game. Robertson, one of the 3 finalists for the Walter Payton Player of the Year Award, quarterback for Villanova, out of the game tonight with a concussion. The opponent, Sam Houston State, located in Huntsville, Texas, in the Southland Conference, 28th year in the league. They have won or shared 6 league titles, shared it this year, 8th time in the playoffs. And they are one of 3 schools in the country in the playoffs for the 4th year in a row. Villanova won a national championship in 2009 in the playoffs for the 2nd time in the last 3 years. And for the 11th time in their great history. History which includes Hall of Famer Howie Long. Sam Houston ball at the 20 on 1st down. Handoff to Keyshawn Hill. Picks up 4 on the play. Tackle made by Don Cherry.
Remember, Keyshawn Hall, the first play of the first FCS playoff game, Sam Houston A-State versus Southeastern Louisiana, gets hit, goes out with a concussion, misses that entire game, comes back last week, has a big game, and off to a pretty decent one here today, too.
On the play fake, Johnson's got all the time in the world. Now it breaks down. That's going to be intentional grounding, we think. He did not get outside the tackle box. Do you think it was grounding?
He did not leave the tackle box, no question.
Is the ball anywhere near an offensive receiver?
Didn't look like it at first look. That's what they're discussing right now.
The only thing is the flag was thrown by the official on the near sideline, the line of scrimmage. Now they throw it. Now the referee throws it. I think we're going to get grounded. Unless there's more than one penalty. Long discussion, and we'll eventually get the verdict from referee Tim O'Day.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against Sam Houston. Holding, offense number 70. That penalty is declined. Intentional grounding, offense number 15. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul with a loss of down, 3rd down.
So there you heard it. Casey DeVries called for the hold. Instead, they'll take the intentional grounding.
Here's the pressure. It's Cherry at the end. Yeah, see, it looked like Deion Hutchinson is pretty close to this. I don't know about that call. Deion Hutchinson was within 2 or 3 yards of that pass being thrown. I'm trying to figure out why that flag was thrown.
So it's a 10-yard loss plus the loss of down. Now Johnson being pressured on the screen. It's Hill, and unloading on him is Joey Harmon. Hill would have been better off dropping the football. But when you're a competitor,
that's right,
you don't think of things like that.
Remember, Joey Harmon earlier had the bad unsportsmanlike conduct, but this time comes up with a big play. Nice job coming up and attacking Hill on the screenplay.
8th tackle for a loss today. So the bad news is Donovan will be kicking from his own end zone. The good news is he'll be punting with a significant wind at his back.
And that wind really does gust, Bob. I was on the field before the game, and it's blowing pretty consistently, but at times it'll really gust.
Goulias did not play the ball on the fly, and then he had second thoughts and instead caught it on a hop to save some field position. But all in all, pretty effective kick by Donovan, and Villanova will take over at the 42-yard line. The 2014 NCAA Division I Football Championship will continue next weekend with semifinal action on December 19th and the 20th. Both games will be on the Watch ESPN app. For more information, go to NCAA.com. It's the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. There's an example of the win we're talking about. Significant from your left to your right as you're watching at home.
You got to imagine it really helped the field goal by Chris Goff toward the end of the half there for Villanova.
Also knocked down that punt. Here's a huge gain by Monongai on first down inside the 20, the 10, touchdown. 58 yards. Do they go for 2 in the tie?
With the trouble they've had kicking field goals, it looks like they are bringing. We'll see what it looks like. They are going to go for 2 here, at least at the early stage. How about this offensive line for Villanova has really come to play today, Bob, with their first-string quarterback Robertson out. Offensive line and running game has really put this game on their shoulders and done a great job.
So they'll go for the tie with a 2-point conversion. Villanova's touchdowns, 54 yards, 36 yards, 58 yards. We've played, 5 minutes and 24 seconds this half. Each team has scored a touchdown, each on a 1-play drive. 66 yards and 58 yards. Now Villanova wants to get 3 yards on this 2-point conversion attempt.
And obviously they'd feel better about this if they had Robertson, a dual-threat running guy in.
Excellent point. Poloni to throw off his back foot. He's got his man in the back of the end zone, Kevin Goulias. And we're right where we started, dead even at 24.
What an exciting game. There's Andy Talley. He's happy about that. Just how you call it up. Nice job.
On the field for media.
Here's the big run by Monangai.
Kevin Monangai, the 7th leading rusher in the CAA. Kevin Goulias has 9 touchdown catches and that one big 2-point conversion. Kevin Monangai ran 81 yards for a touchdown this season against Morgan State. That was the longest run in the CAA this season. But he would gladly trade that one for this one. 58-yarder with the season on the line in the FCS playoffs, and the 2-point conversion pulls them even.
And again, as I said before the break, this offensive line, knowing their star quarterback, Walter Payton candidate, John Robertson, out of the game, offensive line knew they had to show up to play today, put the game on their shoulders, and they have, along with the running game and Kevin Monangai.
Villanova has run for 194 yards today. They averaged 239, 9th best in the country. They ran for 364 yards against Morgan State. But this is a much stronger team than Morgan State we're playing today in Sam Houston State. So now Goff will have to kick off into a very strong wind. The 2 return men are standing on the 15-yard line. Instead, he kicks the low line drive.
Just before he kicked that
Wind blew the ball.
Yeah, it fell off the tee.
The ball fell
Good
off the
thing
tee
it
just
did
prior
that.
to the kick. The ball will be re-kicked.
Instead of a split second later. Back in 1985, the Giants had a punter named Sean Landette. He went to punt the football and was there. And when the foot got to the ball wasn't there. The wind blew it away in Soldier Field in Chicago, and the Bears got the ball on the 2-yard line.
And there you see the returners lined up on about the 15-yard line, knowing they're kicking into a very stiff wind.
Don't they need Lucy to come out here and hold this ball?
Yeah, well, now they're going to have to bring somebody over. The second time it falls over, they got to bring a holder in.
So it will be Matt McCann who will hold it. So now will he try to keep it low, you know, like a 2-iron? Of course, the 2-iron it never goes where you want.
I'm not a golfer, Bob, so I don't know.
Well,
no, I think your best bet is to try to keep it low.
This one he actually drives Thomas back a bit to the 11. Thomas tries to get to the perimeter and he's run down. Great open field tackle is made by Joe Sarnice, the second team all CAA free safety. So it's at the 24-yard line. A look at the Villanova touchdown.
And look at the hole right here. And a nice vision, a good job. It looked like that was the left guard, Kyle Walls, that came across that formation.
Offside.
Made a nice running lane for Monangai.
5-yard penalty, re-kick.
And here's a 2-point conversion. Goulias just sneaks behind the defense there on the play action. 2-point conversion's good. Yeah, very happy Andy Talley.
Andy Talley saying we're never going to go for 1. By the way, Villanova called for offsides on the kickoff. So all things considered, kicking into that wind, they did a pretty good job. With Sam Houston would have had the ball at the 24. Field position wise, it's not a bad deal for Villanova. So instead now they have to kick it off into the wind again from 5 yards further back.
And it goes without saying, when you're playing a game without your best player, arguably one of the best players in all of FCS, you can't have these kind of shoot yourself in the foot kind of penalties. Again, the 4th penalty on special teams for Villanova.
And they had a punt block, remember that?
Yeah.
This kick is shorter, taken by Thomas on a hop at the 22. So he gets to the 32, so that penalty cost them 8 yards in field position. Sam Houston State football. First time that Sam Houston is ever playing a team in the CAA, the league where their coach, Casey Keeler, spent 11 years coaching at Delaware. While he was there, he won 3 conference titles. Took his team to the playoffs 4 times, took his team to the national championship game 3 times, and they won the national championship in 2003. Now he's here at Sam Houston State, and he said when he took over, he said, I'm not here to rebuild, I'm here to win championships. Who's on board?
You can see rushing-wise, not really getting it done for Sam Houston, but the quarterback, Jared Johnson, has really done it with his arm.
Handoff to Hill. 4-yard pickup. Again, the Villanova defense is 7th in the country against the run, and the biggest reason for that is that guy.
And the thing I love about Don Cherry, he's always attacking the line of scrimmage. You know, you always wonder when you see linebackers with a lot of stats, are they making the tackle 6-8 yards down the field, or are they making it close to the line of scrimmage? Don Cherry, watch him on display. Every play, he's always attacking, pressing that line of scrimmage.
Andy Talley says Cherry diagnoses very well. Very cerebral.
Yeah, very instinctive, too. Knows what's happening a split second before it happens.
On second down, Johnson throws, completes it to Brown for the first down at the 45-yard line. Brown has had an enormous day. 2 touchdown catches. One of them for only 3 yards, one of them for 66 yards. First and 10, Bearcats at the 45. 8:30 remaining, third quarter. Villanova 24, Sam Houston 24. On first down, the handoff to Donovan Williams. Picks up 3. Williams had a 212-yard rushing game this year. Sam Houston had 10 different 100-yard rushing performances this season. Only 4 of them by their tailback Hill. So they very much have done it by committee. The catch is made by Edwards. Casey Keeler mentioned in our halftime interview that he wanted to see Edwards become more involved. He picks up a first down.
And what happened is when you're Jason Senius and you've been burned for a lot of long touchdowns, you're going to start playing off. And that's what happened. Credit Robertson for seeing Edwards with about an 8-yard cushion by Jason Senius. Just pops the ball out there and picks up the first down.
Brown wide to the bottom of your screen. Thomas is in the slot right. To throw, Johnson, great protection. Now he'll take off. And he'll be brought down right at the line of scrimmage by Joey Harmon. Did you see anything in your prep for the game on tape that led you to believe that Senius would be so vulnerable at that corner?
I didn't really at all. I mean, he was, their best cover corner guy from what I'd seen on tape all week, but he's kind of off to a bad start here on this particular play. It was just some nice coverage on the back end by Villanova. Forced Robertson outside the pocket.
Jalen Overstreet in at the tailback spot on the option. Johnson with the late pitch to Overstreet, reading it well and getting great penetration was Jerry Miles from his weak side safety spot.
Yeah, the pitch played to the outside part of the field is not really working today for Sam Houston State. That's a great job by Jeremy Miles, just stringing that play out and shooting his gun late, bringing it back to the ground.
3rd and 9 for the Bearcats. They need to get the ball inside the 35. Johnson looks at the sideline for the play. Play clock still at 12. 3-man rush. Now Villanova's rushing 4. Johnson scrambles, still looking, throws, short. Way short of the intended receiver Edwards. Late pressure applied by Noble Ajakai, the junior from Harrisburg, North Carolina.
When I want you to watch number 92, Tano Passignon, right there, just pushing the running back, the offensive lineman right back into the lap of Johnson, forced him to move his feet and disrupt his passing. A nice job again. Didn't get to the quarterback, didn't bring him to the ground, but the pressure created there forced Johnson outside the pocket in an errant throw.
Donovan into punt. Livers back deep, punting with the wind at his back. Livers, good play fake there. May have prevented the Sam Houston guys from downing that football. Touchback. Villanova football tied at 24 when we come back. Crowd bundled up here 12 miles west of downtown Philadelphia for this FCS quarterfinal football game. The winner will meet either Coastal Carolina or 3-time defending national champion North Dakota State in the semifinals next weekend. New Hampshire is already in the semifinals. The number 1 seed won its quarterfinal last night at home over Chattanooga. 3 touchdown passes for Sean Goldridge and a terrific game by the New Hampshire special teams.
Yeah, they had to come back late in that game last night.
On first down, Poloni hands off to Austin Medley. Brought down from behind by Desmond Fight. Poloni 11 for 14 for 158 yards and 1 touchdown. Also ran for a touchdown, 8 carries for 53 yards.
I mean, obviously he's done a great job for a guy that didn't know he was going to start this game until about probably 10 a.m. this morning.
3 wide receivers to the left. 4-man rush. Maloney takes off with the football. He's got the first down and goes into the slide and will be stopped at the 42-yard line after a pickup of 19.
And that was a great read, because you got to figure Sam Houston State's not counting on Poloni to run the ball well. That's not really what he does. So Poloni sees not many Sam Houston State defenders in the box, sees a lane open up and picks up the easy yards. That was a nice read.
Poloni started 4 games in 2011 and 1 game in 2012. This is his first start this year and 6th of his career, with Robertson sitting out with a concussion. Play clock down to 5. Handoff, Medley, right side, first down. All the way to the 33, run down from behind by P.J. Hall. Villanova playing hurry up.
And Sam Houston State just not doing a good job of tackling in the back end. Right there's a tackle that's got to be made. Instead, Medley picks up another 10, 12 yards.
Medley on first down will be thrown for a loss by Tristan Etche, the middle linebacker. Villanova was in that hurry up mode. The chain gang was still trying to get the chain set, much less the Sam Houston defense was trying to get set.
You see Villanova trying to change up the tempo. They'll go hurry up and then they'll slow it down. The center will change up his tempo a bit as well. I think they're really trying to keep that fierce defensive line for Sam Houston State, trying to keep them honest and keep P.J. Hall from really pinning his ears back and rushing the passer.
Maloney to throw, fires, incomplete. Intended for Gulia's coverage by Trey Orr, the first-team All-Southland Conference corner.
And Trey Orr was blanketed all over Goliath. That pass probably shouldn't have been thrown. Great job there by the junior from Orlando.
A year ago, Villanova didn't make the playoffs. Wildcats went 6-5. 2 years ago, they lost in the opening round to Stony Brook after sharing the CAA title. 3rd down and 10. Four-man Bearkats front, and we're going to get a false start.
Looks like it was on the left tackle, Seaton.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 79, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It is, and remember this week as we look at the left side of the screen, you'll see Seat clearly move.
Yep.
Sam Venuto told us that one byproduct of the struggles of the kicking game is it completely changes your play calling on 3rd down.
Well, absolutely, because you know if you just pick up a little bit of the yardage, you're most of the time going to go for it on 4th down. You just try to get it to a 4th and 5 instead of a 4th and 7 or more.
Another false start on Villanova.
Wow.
Is this going to be on the center hall?
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It is. Ross Hall, 2nd-team All-Conference center. So this Villanova just shooting themselves in the foot over and over. 10th penalty of the game. So this makes it 3rd and 20. Sam Houston showing blitz.
Only one guy two guys with their hand on the ground right now for Sam Houston State.
And 4 others standing up at the line of scrimmage. They rush 5. And Poloni's hit by Hall as he throws the football. It caused it to be underthrown and nearly picked off by Alfonso McMillan. P.J. Hall applied the pressure on that play.
And they moved Hall around. And that time he got inside. I'm telling you, we've talked about him all game. He's only 6'1", but he uses that height just to get a little bit of leverage, get underneath the tackle on that play. It was a great look, great blitz look by Sam Houston State, created a little bit of confusion.
Hall, by the way, has 27 tackles for loss this season. Tops in the conference, 2nd best single season total in school history. Punting into the wind is Hinchin, and he gets off a beauty into the wind. Thomas will let it bounce over his head, and it will roll to a stop at the Sam Houston 6-yard line. 39-yard punt. No return. Let's revisit our Northwestern Mutual planning for success and your keys to the game at the outset.
Yeah, we talked about for Sam Houston State, they got to take care of the ball. Now, they put the ball on the turf a couple of times. Unfortunately, they haven't turned any of them, or fortunately for them, they haven't turned any over. And they also got to tackle. I just talked about this a couple of plays ago. That back end, that secondary, just cannot allow second and third efforts for more yards because guys like Monangai are going to keep going off. And then for Villanova with a backup quarterback in, they got to protect the quarterback. And so far, I've done a pretty nice job. That was a long pass to Ivers early in the football game.
Bubble screen on first down. It goes to Yeti Lewis, and he'll pick up 9 on the play. We haven't had a single turnover in this football game.
And that's what we talked about at halftime, Bob. Usually these games, playoff games, tight score late, whoever takes care of the ball the best usually winds up getting the victory. Turnover at a costly time can change the momentum in a game like this.
2nd and 1, 3 receivers to the left. And on the handoff, it is Hill. Didn't get the first down. Still leads about another yard.
And this is one of the last keys we talked about before the game is stop Jared Johnson early. Well, they haven't done that. He's been prolific in the pass game. Sam Houston State not really running the ball that effectively, but Jared Johnson using a lot of those mechanics we talked about at halftime, doing a nice job delivering the football.
Joe Sarnice, the free safety from Ventnor, New Jersey, shaken up on the play. He returned an interception 48 yards for a touchdown against Towson earlier this year. 2nd team all CEA selection. North Dakota State looking for a 4th straight national championship, has defeated Coastal Carolina.
The game clock to 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
So that means North Dakota State will host the winner of this game in the semifinals next weekend. One of the semifinals will be on Friday night. One of them will be on Saturday.
I've heard North Dakota State be called the Florida State of the FCS. They're not dominating like in years past, but they're finding ways to get victories, and they do it again today by 7 points.
On the fake handoff, Johnson with the keeper, and he picks up the first down. Of course, they play in the Dome Stadium. They have tremendous support. ESPN Game Day is originated from there.
2 years in a row. They've been out to the Fargo Dome.
Yeah. Tremendous atmosphere. New Hampshire, the #1 seed in the country this year, made it to the semifinals for the first time in school history last year and lost badly to North Dakota State after taking an early 7-0 lead on a fumble return. But then it all came apart in a hurry. But New Hampshire, because they're the #1 seed, they get to play another home game next weekend. The pass across the middle is caught by Lewis. First down at the Sam Houston 37-yard line.
Nice job, a fake of the run there. Then Johnson pulls it back, hits the wide open guy. And that's the thing with Johnson. He's only 55% completion percentage on the year, but the last 2 games, including this one, his accuracy has been phenomenal at the right time.
17-yard pickup. Handoff to Jalen Overstreet. And he'll pick up 5 more. Overstreet had 2 100-yard rushing games this year. Ran for 6 touchdowns. So Casey Keeler has a wide supply of running backs to choose from.
He really does. Jalen Overstreet, 7.2 yards per carry on the season.
Johnson, play fake, throws across the middle, wide open is Edwards. First down at the Nova 41. Sarnice with the tackle.
And Jared Johnson is really in a rhythm right now. So he takes the snap, just a little bit of fake, nice little pump there, and allows Derek Edwards to get behind the first level of defenders. And again, a great job by Johnson putting the ball in the money.
In motion is Thomas, the handoff to Overstreet, and he is stopped cold at the line of scrimmage by Tano Passignan, who missed 5 games this season with a knee injury. Approaching the final minute of the 3rd quarter, tied at 24. The winner meets 2nd-seeded North Dakota State in Fargo. The semifinals next weekend. The CAA trying to get 2 teams in the Final 4. New Hampshire's already there. Johnson pressured, dropped the football. Looks like he may have fallen on it. He went down. Jordan Hunter, the backup nose tackle, with the sack. The second for the Wildcats.
I want you to watch number 7 for Villanova, Cameron McCurry, coming off the blitz. They bring Jalen Overstreet, the backup, and look, he just pushes Overstreet right back into the lap of Johnson, who's what really caused the confusion on that play.
3rd and 18. They have to get to the Villanova 31. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. 3-man Villanova front. Hill is the setback. Play clock down to 4. Down to 1. Delay a game.
Wow. Mental mistake.
Timeout.
They did get one.
Prior to the
Timeout was called just before.
Houston State.
It's the first for the Bearkats.
This will be a 30-second team timeout.
So that avoids a 3rd and 23 situation. Casey Keeler, as we mentioned, spent 11 years coaching at his alma mater at Delaware, and
please reset the
from
game clock to
Pennsylvania.
12 seconds.
So is his wife Janice, who graduated from Penn. And he told us that as far as the transition to Texas, he said we left behind some friends when we left for Texas. Many of them will be at the game, and we're certainly looking forward to it. But all week long, whenever you tried to get him into, waxing melancholy about coming back, he really wasn't interested in that. He's just interested in typical football coach.
Yeah,
he wanted to concentrate on the game plan and the opponent.
Yep, want to talk about his team and how they preparing for today. I'll tell you one thing he can't be happy about is having to burn a timeout in a situation like that with a tie score. You figure those timeouts late, you want to hang on to those things. So clearly not something he can be happy about.
3rd and 18, same situation, same formation. Villanova 3-man front, and that's all they bring, the 3. Johnson, lots of time, throws, and it is incomplete, intended for Ladarius Brown. Broken up on the play by Cameron McCurry.
2 great plays in a row by Cameron McCurry. Play before he comes on the blitz, forces the pressure, and then a nice job just finding a way to get that ball out of the hands of Ladarius Brown. Nice job with the second ever with the left hand coming down, breaking that pass up. Excellent play.
So Donovan will come in and this time try to keep the ball out of the end zone. Livers back at the 10 to return with 6 seconds left in the quarter. All-out rush by Villanova. Livers calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 9 on the final play of the 3rd quarter. Villanova won it all in 2009. Sam Houston State lost in the championship game 2 years ago and 3 years ago. One of these teams trying to get to the semifinals and a date with the 3-time defending national champ. We have 15 minutes left, and we're tied at 24. Football championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. Here is the scoring summary. Villanova, Sam Houston State dead even. The total yardage relatively close. The winner of this game advances to the semifinals as we begin the 4th quarter. On first down, Villanova with the wind at its back. And Monangai gets nowhere. Stopped by Tristan Etchie. So what is Villanova? Again, without the front runner for the Walter Payton National Player of the Year award, out with a concussion. What do the Wildcats have to do in these last 15 minutes to get out of here and keep their season going?
Well, I think in general, the team that takes care of the ball the best in this last 14 minutes and 30 seconds is going to give their team the best chance, with it being a tie football game. A turnover late could wind up being the difference.
Neither team has turned the ball over today. Villanova's had a punt block. Monangai picked up 3, maybe 4 on the play. Everett with the stop. These are the 3 finalists for the Payton Award. Vernon Adams will play later today. Eastern Washington against Illinois State in the quarterfinal. Winner gets New Hampshire next week. John Robertson of Villanova and Idaho State senior quarterback Justin Arias. Winner will be announced on Monday. Andy Talley told us, now keep in mind, might not be the most objective person on the subject. He says it would be a tragedy if Robertson doesn't win. I don't know how else you could give it to anyone else. Penalty mark on the play. The ball by Poloni went behind the receiver Golias. What happened there?
Not sure. The penalty flag came out. It looked like it was a false start.
Illegal formation. 5 minutes of backfield offense.
That's the 5th time.
4th down.
I mean, look down the line of scrimmage here. Look at, there's 3 guys on the line. It's the center, the 2 wide receivers there in tight. The rest of the offensive line, and you got to figure that's a result of the offensive line respecting the rushing ability of P.J. Hall and those guys up front for Sam Houston State. They want to get back so they're not, beat off the edge. But God, that's the 5th time I think that's happened today.
Into punt will be Hinchin. With the wind at his back, he'll need it. He's standing in his own end zone. The Bearcats should get the ball in great field position. And an awful kick off the side of his foot. Does take a good Villanova bounce, but Sam Houston will take over at its own 48-yard line. And a big reason why the Bearcats are in this situation is the big game by their big wide receiver, Ladarius Brown.
Yeah, they call him the Big Puma, and that's what he's done. 6'2", 220 pounds, and he's really just made hay all day over the cornerback, Jason Senius. Using his height, using his athletic ability. You see him going up for the play there. And then this one just uses his speed, and then look at the stiff arm at the end, fighting all the way into the end zone. What a day for number 85.
5 catches for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he had 2 touchdown catches last week, including the go-ahead touchdown. Here's a huge hole around the right side for Hill. And he picks up 12 yards on first down. Joe Sarnice made the stop at the Villanova 40.
Picked up a great block by 19, Gerald Thomas. Just see right there, just coming in your screen. A nice block on Jerry Miles, the linebacker. Allowed Hill to pick up the first down.
Now 2 setbacks in the backfield with Johnson. Overstreet and Williams. We haven't seen that too often today. On the swing pass, it's Overstreet, gets to the perimeter, and picks up 6 more.
And Bob, if you run a spread offense, it's so critical. You talk to any coach, any offensive coordinator, it's critical to have your wide receivers, the ability to block downfield. And that was another example of both Derek Edwards and Yeti Lewis blocking downfield.
Joe Sarnice shaken up on the play for Villanova. Again, the timeline on the concussion story for John Robertson. He played the entire game last week, scored the winning touchdown with 1:12 to go. And on Sunday, he started feeling concussion-like symptoms. He did not practice all week. Then on Friday, you went to the walkthrough, and tell us how you found out that he even had a concussion.
Yeah, so I'm at the walkthrough yesterday, and Andy Talley goes, so have you heard? I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, our quarterback hasn't practiced all week with a concussion. And as I say that, I said, well, is he going to play? He goes, I don't know. They're checking him out right now. And he was literally down toward the end of the field, down the field there, and they were testing him out and looked okay, but then this morning woke up and couldn't do it. And there you see Sarnice just go down a non-contact injury.
Walking under his own power on the sideline. It's the second time we've seen him go down today. On the keeper, Johnson doesn't pitch it late, and he will be stopped at the 32-yard line.
And there's Sarnice pointing to his head. I don't know if he some sort of head injury or something, but it was interesting. He pointed to his head after going down again with no contact.
They have a great kicker, but with this wind in his face, they take that out of the equation. But it's not going to matter because Hill's got the first down, and he's tripped up at the 23-yard line by McCurry. Big 15-yard gain by Keyshawn Hill.
Gerald Thomas hasn't done a ton in the passing game, but his blocking has been exceptional. Watch number 19, right there in the left side of your screen, holding up on the defensive back and allowing Hill to get forward for the first down.
Hill straight up the middle to the 15. And again, we will remind you that Sam Houston State has had great success in the red zone all season. Second best in the Southland Conference and 10th best in the country. They have a great place kicker. Should it come down to a kick, he will be kicking with a significant wind in his face. But Casey Keeler says his range is 52 yards. Johnson on the pitch to Hill. Don Cherry made the stop at the Villanova 13-yard line. And today in the red zone, Sam Houston State, 3 trips, 2 touchdowns, and a field goal. 3rd and 5. What are you looking for here?
On the bottom of your screen, there's number 85, Darius Brown over Jason Senius. They've loved that matchup all game. Here's a critical situation.
He already has 2 touchdown catches. Johnson fakes, avoids the rush by McCann, and just throws a jump ball, threw it away. Fortunately for him, he threw it over the sideline.
And he was looking for Darius Brown on that play, if not for Tano Passignon getting in his face early. He was clearly going to number 85, but look at 92 just push the tackle out of the way. And excuse me, it was also number 30, Matt McCann, that got in there and forced the errant throw.
So Luke Swinberga will be in to attempt the field goal. He is 15 for 17, 88.2%, 8th best percentage in the country. This will be a 30-yard attempt. He's already made a 32-yarder today.
Into the wind.
Kick is up. And it is good. So Swinberga gives the Bearcats the lead with 10:54 remaining. And as we said a couple times today, one big difference between these 2 teams is one team has a huge advantage when it comes to the place kicking. That team is in front by 3. Casey Keeler, Sam Houston State Bearcats have regained the lead on the field goal by Luke Swinberga. Andy Talley's Villanova Wildcats will get the ball back. They trail by 3. Andy Talley's been here for 30 years. He's coached a number of great players over those years. Won a national championship in 2009. The best player on that team, by the way, was a guy by the name of Matt Caesar, who was a tremendous, he was a do-everything guy. He was, by nature, he was a wide receiver, kick returner. They lined him up in the backfield. He ran, he took direct snaps as the Wildcat. And by the way, Matt Caesar is also an outfielder for the Chicago Cubs. He was called up during the season. One of the great athletes in Villanova history. And it was the second half of that national championship game against Montana in 2009. The decision was made to put the ball in Caesar's hands, and he dominated the second half. Villanova won it all, but there have been some great players over the years, coached by Andy Talley and his predecessors. Some of those names are on that wall. Brian Westbrook, of course. Howie Long's in the Hall of Fame.
That's the big one, yeah.
Westbrook, one of the most versatile running backs in NFL history. John Sandett, Brian Finneran won the Walter Payton Award, National Player of the Year Award. Mike Ciani was a great wide receiver. We had Scott Bruner on at halftime, and Scott's dad, John Bruner, was an assistant coach in the 60s, and Mike Ciani was on those teams. On the little swing passes to Livers, incomplete. There's Brian Finneran, who won the Walter Payton Award in 1997. Villanova was the #1 ranked team in the country that year. And Andy Talley won the Eddie Robinson Award that year as the outstanding coach in the country.
We'll find out on Monday if they have another Walter Payton Award winner, and John Robertson.
He's one of the 3 finalists. 2nd down and 10. Robertson takes off with the ball, goes into the slide. Looks like he's got the first down. We haven't seen, now Monangai ran 58 yards for a touchdown, so he made a huge play this half, but we haven't seen him carry the ball nearly as much this half as we did in the first half. Why do you think?
It really is a little bit puzzling. That's what they've been able to lean on most of the game, is the running game. You have to imagine here they'll try to get back to doing it because Monangai's had a pretty fantastic game.
1st and 10 at the Villanova 43, 10:20 remaining. Sam Houston by 3. Monangai with only 5 carries in the second half. Here's his 6th. Tries to kick it outside. That's not going to work at all. He did a brilliant job just to get the ball. He actually may have picked up a foot on the play instead of losing 3 yards.
Well, you're absolutely right. It looked like he was going to have about a 3 or 4 yard loss.
Uh-oh.
He was able to squirrel through and at least, like you said, pick up a half a yard.
Flexing those legs. That could be just because it's a little chilly. They could not afford to lose him.
Monangai, coach told us, he's just 600-pound squat guy, very powerful legs. You saw it on that play.
Called him a bowling ball type of runner. Said he's not a game breaker, but he'll get you those 4, 5, 6 yards. But he did break a 58-yarder.
He did break one today, yeah.
Play clock down to 5. Down to 2. Just beats the clock. And throws. Overthrew his receiver, Gullias, who was well covered on the play. Pressure applied by Hall.
And Kel Everett, nice job in coverage. Again, it was man-to-man. There you see number 6, Mikael Everett, nice job in coverage.
So it will be 3rd and 9. Wildcats need to get to the Sam Houston 47-yard line to extend this drive. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Sam Houston rushes 5. Poloni steps forward, throws across the middle, and he has DiCamillo inside the 30, all the way to the 19-yard line. Huge play made by Poloni. He avoided the pressure, stepped forward in the pocket, and most importantly, kept his eyes downfield.
We're exactly right. It was a nice job in coverage, but Poloni just extending the play. That was the difference. It allowed DiCamillo just a little bit more time to create some separation from Trenier Orr in the play. Nice job again by Poloni extending that play.
38-yard pickup, only the 2nd time Villanova's converted in 9 attempts on 3rd down. Handoff, Monangai changes direction, explodes through the line. And looks like he might have another 1st down at the 8.
He did. He found a little crease. Watch this play. He's searching, patient, and right there puts his right foot in the ground and just explodes.
Hurry up offense, no huddle. Handoff, Monangai. Straight up the middle. Picks up at least 4 more. Gets inside the 4. Clock running, 8.5 minutes remaining. Villanova with a chance to take the lead.
Now again, we'll point out the fact that Villanova doesn't kick the ball that well, and especially now you're going to be kicking the ball into the wind. It's critical they find their way to get 7 points here.
One receiver to the left, 2 to the right. Handoff, Monangai moves forward, gets it almost to the 1. Tackle made by Eric Agbaroji. 3rd down and 1, and you know this is 4-down territory. Like the old Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart USC play against Notre Dame.
Yeah, Poloni tried to get a little bit of a push. Still bitter about that play, by the way.
Remember what we said, how the kicking woes influence what you do on 3rd down. So it's 3rd and 1, but Villanova knows they're going to take 2 cracks at it here if they don't get in on the first one. First thing they're going to do is burn a timeout.
Yeah, they want to make sure they get a nice play called here because they don't want to have to go for it on 4th down on the 1 foot line.
This will be a 30-second team timeout.
With all due respect to Chris Poloni, and we agree that he's played very well. Boy, you would love to have John Robertson, his ability to run and throw in this situation, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
The NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. We are at Villanova Stadium, which opened in 1927. 3rd and goal for Villanova at the 1. Trailing by 3, 7:20 left in the FCS quarterfinals. Winner gets defending national champ North Dakota State in the semifinals next weekend in Fargo. Poloni tucks it under his arm. He's going to keep it himself. Did he get in? He did. Now, Rocky, do you go for 1 or 2?
That's the question.
Kicker's on the field.
Looks like they're going to bring him on again. He'll have the wind at his back here. Try to make this a 4-point ball game, which would be huge. Here's the replay. Just a nice job of Poloni. I'll tell you what, I've been impressed with him for a guy that doesn't have the moniker of being a great guy in terms of running the football. He's done a pretty good job here today, that time on the touchdown.
Again, Chris Goff this season has missed 3 extra points, including 1 today. His backup, Steve Weiler, who actually took away the job from Goff, has missed 6. So Villanova, between the two of them, has missed 9 extra points this year. This is a crucial one because this would mean a field goal cannot tie it. And he makes it. And Goff has also made a 46-yard field goal this year. So Villanova takes the lead for the first time since early in the second quarter. The Wildcats had to come from behind to beat Liberty last week. Andy Talley told us this week the advantage of playing at home in the playoffs is unbelievable. The edge often comes down to home field. All the amenities at home are critically important. And he said given the poor weather conditions last week against Liberty and when we fell behind, I don't think we come from behind and win that game if we're on the road.
Yeah, if you have 4 turnovers in a game, if you're playing on the road, it's hard to overcome that. But credit them for doing that, as you said, in a very awful weather game.
Goff kicking with the wind at his back. He drives it right through the end zone for a touchback. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. So despite the kicking game woes, Goff
he's
redeemed
today.
Point.
Yeah.
He made the 46-yard field goal. Came up with a great kickoff there.
Yeah, good for him. Coming out in the most important game of the season, having a good one.
Villanova fans.
Now I got to mention here, it does not look like Villanova will have one of their best defenders in run support, the safety, Joe Sarnice. Remember, he went down with a non-contact injury, I believe it was late in the third quarter.
Well, it was the last Sam Houston possession.
Yeah.
And while he was sitting on the turf, he pointed to his helmet. There's the little swing pass to Hill, gets it out to the 32-yard line, and Sarnice is not out there, at least yet. We don't see him on the sideline, and he is a terrific player. 2nd team all CAA.
Yeah, he's one of their best guys on the back end in terms of run support.
2nd down, Hill again. Very close to the 1st down. Looks like he has it at the 35-yard line with 6:47 to go. Each team with 2 timeouts. Sarnice 3rd on the team in tackles. Lucas blew out his knee. He's out for the year. He had a terrific season. Overstreet on 1st down. Keeps those legs moving and manages to pick up 4 yards before he's brought down by Cherry.
Well, I was just getting ready to say, with Sarnice being out of the game, even more responsibility goes on Don Cherry. He comes up with a tackle yet again.
Looks like they have McCurry switch to that free safety spot, and Jerry Miles, McCurry's backup, is in at the weak side safety. Here's the handoff to Overstreet. Huge gain. 17 yards, and we have a Sam Houston State player, the tight end, Dion Hutchinson, shaken up on the play. Now, we've said a couple times, Rocky, Villanova plays what's called a 3-3-5 stack. Why do they do that, and what are the advantages of it?
Well, here we'll look at the replay here. Matt McCann had him in the backfield. You see him just miss the tackle and allow Overstreet to get forward for some nice yards. But the 3-3 stack, it's kind of a newer defense you've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. And just allows you to bring a lot of different looks from a lot of different ways. You have 3 men in the line of scrimmage, 3 guys stacked behind. But then from there, it allows you the room to bring some linebackers, to bring some safeties. Which I see on the left of the screen there.
McCann of Villanova just rolled up on the back of
Yeah.
Hutchinson's legs accidentally. And Hutchinson is still down. Well, Andy Talley said it, as far as the defense is concerned, he said, you know, not many teams play it, and our thinking is it's tough for other teams to adjust to it when they only have 1 week to prepare. And he compared it to, like at the FBS level, how teams frequently struggle, at least early in the game, defending Navy and the Air Force Academy because the service
To the
academies,
option, yeah.
because of because of scholarship limitations, have to go to a different route, try to run option plays.
Right.
And
Well, you're seeing it more and more in college football. I just don't think the Southland Conference has many teams that run it, so it is a different look. Again, there's a lot you can do with in terms of disguise. You can twist the linebackers, bring a safety, just a lot of different ways. It's very confusing for the offensive line.
we just saw a glimpse of Casey Keeler. He, of course, has seen the 3-3 Villanova sack many times. This is the 12th time in his career that he has coached a football game against Villanova. The first 11 coming when he was just down I-95 in Newark, Delaware. On the keeper, Johnson, big gain up the middle. Brought down by Jerry Miles at the Villanova 33. First down with 5:50 remaining.
Nice job riding the play. Look at that hole open up on the inside. Clearly Villanova thought Overstreet was going to get the ball on the end around. Johnson kept it for a nice game.
2 setbacks in the backfield. Handoff Overstreet. Great penetration by Matt McCann.
Yeah, he missed the tackle a couple plays ago. That time he gets there along with Joey Harmon. Tackle for loss. And Williams, you see right there, number 24, missed the block. He should have had McCann on that play. He doesn't get him, and that enabled the tackle for loss.
11th tackle for a loss by the Villanova defense. And by the way, we are told by the Villanova Athletic Communications Department in response to our inquiry that Sarnice is in the locker room. He's being evaluated, not sure of the nature of the injury. Back to throw. Johnson looking deep for Edwards, and he makes the catch inside the 20.
Just a nice job just getting right behind first level defenders in front of the safety, Cameron McCurry. And the accuracy, really been impressed with the accuracy by Jared Johnson. And that's something he's struggled with at times. The last 2 weeks has been phenomenal.
So that extra point by Villanova means that Sam Houston needs a touchdown here. Plenty of time left to do that. They have a great place kicker in Swinberga, but they are thinking 6 here. Johnson throws all alone. Is Brown. Now, is that a byproduct of him beating
Absolutely.
deep so often?
Yeah, he's been beating the secondary, the cornerbacks for Villanova all day. Look at the cushion there by Malik Reeves. I mean, he gave him an 8-yard cushion off the ball, and then on the snap, he backpedals. There's no one near for Darius Brown. 2nd
down and 1. He can do almost anything on this play. Overstreet will just run it, keep those legs moving, and he's in for the touchdown. Jalen Overstreet, another one of those transfers. He is a former Texas Longhorn.
And Bob, so many times today we've seen Sam Houston State go laterally here in the red zone. This time they go right, straight downhill. Let's see if he got in before the knee went down. There's the knee. Now it looked like he did not cross the goal line here. We'll see. This is a bit better of a replay. You know, watching the left knee. Left knee is down right there before he crosses.
Let me ask you something. If you're Villanova, wouldn't it be better if he did get in?
That's a good point because you're going to leave more.
The likelihood of keeping him out of the end zone from so close is not real good. You're going to get more time for your offense if he did score.
Try to see another look at it here as they're taking a look. Left knee's down. He does not cross the goal line. That's going to get overturned. But you make a great point. I mean, you would almost rather him score there because you figure with 3 downs, they're going to score anyway, but you're now going to be doing it with less time.
Casey Keeler in his first year at Sam Houston State. You heard what he said in their halftime chat. He said, you know, when we heard Robertson was out, we're familiar with Poloni. We know he's very good. But during the week, Casey said to us, so take one more look. During Casey's year off from coaching, he spent some time working for NFL Films. He worked very closely with Ron Jaworski. And Jaws is well known for saying he doesn't believe in the adage that an athlete has whatever it is.
Factor.
But Casey Keeler says, I can assure you that John Robertson, whatever it is, he has it. He plays at the highest level, which his body allows him to play at. He is decisive. So there's just no way to overstate, frankly, how much of a break Sam Houston caught today with Robertson out. Now, Poloni's played very well. He threw for a score. He ran for 2 others. I think he's played extremely well under the circumstances. But he's not as good as John Robertson. He's not one of the 3 finalists for the
right, that's the point.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee was down at the 1-yard line. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. The result of the play is first down. First down, Sam Houston.
Remember in the Super Bowl 47, the Patriots allowed the Giants to score a touchdown because they wanted more time for Tom Brady. If you're Villanova,
see, I think there's a little too much time left. If it was 2 minutes and 13 seconds, then maybe you go ahead and score, figure you're not going to get much time, but
you only have 2 timeouts.
Yeah, I know. I still don't think at this stage you allow them to score.
Villanova's very good against the run all year. Can they stop them 4 times? And this close to the goal line, they have the big back, the 212-pound Overstreet in there instead of Hill. 2 receivers to the left. Ladarius Brown. Looks like he's having a little conversation with Jason Senius at the bottom of your screen. Relationship between Keeler and Andy Talley actually started when Casey was a coach at the beginning of his career at Division III Rowan College in New Jersey. He reached out to Andy Talley and said, "Do you mind if I come watch one of your practices?" Because he feels he can learn a lot from other coaches. And Andy said, "I don't mind at all." And last year when Keeler was out of coaching for a year, he called upon Andy Talley again. Came to watch a Villanova practice.
And that's what the good coaches do. They never stop learning the game of football. The good ones don't think they have it figured out and have all the answers.
First and goal, Sam Houston State.
Not sure what the confusion was once the play was overturned. At any rate, here we go. First and goal inside the 1. 2 tight end set. Overstreet spins into the end zone. Villanova looked like they didn't put up much of a fight there. So Sam Houston takes the lead with 4:03 remaining. And if they make the extra point, it will be a 3-point lead.
Yeah, I still don't think Villanova was letting them score right there, but I think at the end of the day, it's probably a good thing that Sam Houston State scores there instead of letting another minute or more tick off the clock.
In to attempt the extra point will be Swinberger. And the kick is good. Sam Houston State, the co-champs in the Southland Conference. They made it all the way to the national championship game 2 years ago and 3 years ago. Can they get to the semifinals next week? Back here at Villanova, Sam Houston State has regained the lead on a 1-yard run by Jalen Overstreet. They're up by 3. On the extra point, Villanova called for roughing the kicker. The 6th penalty against Villanova's special teams. It was called on Malik Reeves, so that means with the wind in their face, Sam Houston State gets to kick off from midfield, and that is a significant advantage.
Absolutely. Now they have at least a chance to kick this ball into the end zone for a touchback.
Kicking off will be Swinberger.
How big has Ladarius Brown been in this game? Receptions of 51 yards, 66 yards, and 37 yards.
One of those 3 went for a touchdown. He also had a 3-yard touchdown, a big 3rd downer. So, with the penalty yardage, he gets the kick into the end zone. Medley does not try to run it out. Big second half full of big plays.
So, and this was the 66-yard reception there to Ladarius Brown, as we talked about how huge he's been in this game. But Villanova's had some big plays of their own. This is a 58-yard touchdown run by Monangai. So they answered, and this was a 2-point conversion to Goulias. And then finally here later on, it was the run by Poloni. Jared Johnson's been great, and also been great as Jalen Overstreet and Donovan Williams out of the backfield.
Well, I'll tell you what, partner, Chris Poloni has an opportunity to write quite the story here, doesn't he? On first down, the handoff goes to Monangai, and he picks up 10 yards for the first down. Tackle made by Adebo. John Robertson, one of 3 finalists for the Walter Payton Player of the Year Award. Villanova's outstanding junior quarterback, out with a concussion. So Chris Poloni, who had 5 previous career starts, finds out that he's starting the game, and he's done very well, but can he take Villanova down the field to win the game?
We've shown the big play capability here today. It's definitely not out of the question.
Handoff Monangai, he got nowhere, and then his ad-libbing made it even worse. He will be driven for a 6-yard loss back to the 29. Ouch.
You really see just the attacking nature. Look, getting upfield, disrupting, and just guy after guy after the ball there. Defense really feeling it, trying to close this game out.
Villanova with 2 timeouts left. 2 wide receivers to the left and 1 to the right. The pass is thrown behind Goulias, and he wasn't able to catch it. Coverage made on the play by Trey Orr. Crowd thinks there should have been pass interference.
Trey Orr had just amazing coverage. See if he was a little bit early.
Ball thrown behind.
Look at the left arm was on, did have a little bit of a grip on Goulias. I don't know if it was enough to throw the penalty flag in this situation. I think it was a good no call.
3rd and 16.
That was good coverage by Orr.
They need to get to the 45-yard line. They have to punt the ball away. Would you go for it on 4th down if you come up short here with this much time left?
Yeah, you do have the wind at your back, but with under 3 minutes, that's a tough proposition.
Poloni to throw, fires, and they won't have to make that decision. Livers has the first down. Livers is going all the way for the touch. No, they're saying he went out of bounds. They're saying he went out of bounds at the 40-yard line, but Poloni stepped up into the pocket.
Watch, look, they bring the blitz. Sam Houston State, not right there, steps up in the pocket. His feet weren't even set, hits Livers, but again, look at the poor tackling downfield. Allows Poppy Livers to get a few more yards after that play.
Yard gain on 3rd and 16. Handoff, Monangai picks up a couple of tough yards. Well, a field goal will tie it. As we've mentioned throughout the day, Villanova has just had a nightmare season when it comes to the kicking game. They do have the wind at their back. Chris Goff has made a 46-yard field goal today. Villanova, their 2 kickers combined, have missed 9 extra points this year. Now, field goals and extra points aren't the same thing. Extra points are supposed to be easier.
But each time Goff has kicked this way today, he's made it. 1 extra point and 1 field goal.
Poloni being pressured, scrambles, moves forward, and he may have the first down. Great poise by Poloni.
Yeah, Poloni was trying to hit the tight end Ernest Petway, but there was nowhere to go with the ball here. He's trying to, luckily forces it down. Look, another example of poor tackling in a critical situation. That time by Moof Adebo.
3rd and 1. 1:02 remaining. A field goal will tie, a touchdown will win. Handoff Monangai. His second effort gets the first down. Villanova has 2 timeouts left. When do they use them?
And a great job by their senior Monangai of not just plowing forward there when the lane clearly wasn't there. He showed some patience, showed some vision, bounced to his left and found a lane.
There's Goff running up and down the sideline in case they call his number.
This will be a 30-second team timeout.
So Villanova uses its second timeout. So we mentioned The good news is that Goff made a 46-yarder today. He made an extra point after missing one early in the season. There's just no comparison between the two kicking games. But making a 46-yarder on the final play of the half, that was huge. But making a field goal when your team needs it to tie the game and to extend the season, this is what happened in week 1 with Chris Goff. This is for the win late in the fourth quarter against Syracuse. 25-yarder right between the hash marks, and he pushes it right. Villanova went on to lose the game in double overtime. Andy Talley told us this week, I'm not sure we'll ever try another field goal all year. But they did try it at the end of the half. Also, keep in mind they don't have their quarterback, John Robertson, which makes it easier to go for it on fourth down.
Right, absolutely. When you have a dual-threat guy, one of the best players in the country, and John Robertson, yeah, it's easier to go for it. But in this situation, Andy Talley, even though he doesn't want to, may be forced to go for a field goal.
On first down, Poloni throwing off the back foot, and it is incomplete. That was very dangerous.
Dangerous throw there. That ball pops up in the air and almost pulled down by Sam Houston.
Sam Houston State players shaking up on the play as we take another look.
There's P.J. Hall again on the pressure.
P.J. Hall is the man who's shaken up, and what a big development that is. The one guy, if you're the Bearcats, that you don't want to do without in this situation, looks like he's going to have to come out of the game as Goff continues to loosen up on the sideline.
Well, like you said, with a game that's going to come down to just a handful of plays, you'd love to have your best pass rusher, one of the best pass rushers in all the FCS. But he's going to come out for at least one play. The good news is he's walking off the field on his own power, but definitely not very swiftly.
Hall, finalist for the Jerry Rice Award, which goes to the best freshman in the country. The freshman of the year in the Southland Conference. First team all-league. Led the league in tackles for loss. Third in sacks. He also, by the way, has blocked 5 kicks, including 3 field goals. So you better believe that the Bearcats want him back in the game. Luis Carino will replace him. Meanwhile, 2nd and 10 from Villanova. 1 timeout left. 46 seconds left. 3 wide receivers to the right. Poloni will take off. And he's dragged down from behind by Moof Adebo. That's a clock eater, that play. And Villanova uses its last timeout.
Yeah, forced outside the pocket. Nice job by Adebo. Bringing down Poloni. And as you said, Bob, the clock continued to tick, so they'd go ahead and call the timeout.
All right, Rocky, it's 3rd and 13. If you don't convert the first down here, what do? Let's say you throw an incomplete pass, so it's 4th and 13, not a very high percentage play. Do you try a 46-yard field goal for the tie with all the woes that the kicking game has had this year?
What was the distance of the one before halftime? 46. So you get another shot at it.
Wind at his back then, wind at his back now.
I think you take it one more shot down the sideline here, then you got the 4th down here for a kick. I think you're forced to. Again, without your best player, John Robertson, who can extend the play out and really make something happen, I think that's the only choice you're left with.
And the kicking woes, how much of an impact do they have on what play you call here on 3rd down? With Robertson, it would have a huge impact.
A huge impact. I think they're going to try one more play here, either toward the sideline.
In other words, you want to get the first down.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. But if they get the first down, obviously they have enough time to go up and spike the ball to stop the clock, so they do have an option for over the middle.
Here's Poloni, 3rd and 13. Steps forward in the pocket, throws, it's incomplete. Good thing it was, because if it was caught, it would have been way short of the first down, and the clock would have run. So Goff is headed onto the field.
And why wouldn't it come down to this, right?
No one's told him to go onto the field yet. But here he comes. He made a 46-yarder at the end on the final play of the half. It was good. He needs to make a 46-yarder here to extend the season for Villanova, or else that man's team will head to the semifinals. The wind at his back. Play clock is down to 7. They have no timeouts left.
They better get this off.
It's down to 3. Oh my goodness. They have a delay of game. He can't make a 51-yarder, can he?
He didn't make that one from 46.
What a terrible, terrible mistake
Delay a game.
by Villanova.
5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And they just lost track of the clock. Look, there's no sense of urgency. The play clock had completely.
Now, who takes
left the
charge
lines.
there? Out of the 11 guys in the field, who's in charge to make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, I mean,
it's always, is it the holder?
Well, yeah, but Andy Talley, you look on the sideline, Andy Talley, nobody for Villanova was saying, hey, guys, come on, let's get this play off here. Now they're going to be forced to kick from 51.
So you can't go for it on 4th and 18, so now you need a 51-yard field goal for the tie. Good snap. The kick is up, and the kick is going to be no good. With 30 seconds left and with no timeouts left, Sam Houston State can take a knee and will advance to the semifinals. I'll tell you what hurt Villanova more than their kicking woes today. The penalties. The penalties absolutely killed them. And how in the world you could find yourself in a situation where you get a delay of game to make an unlikely field goal almost impossible is beyond me.
I mean, the field goal's already going to be tough enough considering how poorly you've done in the kicking game all year. And then you take 5 more yards and make it a 51-yard field goal. It's a bad job of clock management in a critical situation.
So no timeouts left. Sam Houston will take a knee. So Casey Keeler, who coached down the road at Delaware for 11 years, where their big rival was Villanova. And in his first year at Sam Houston State, he gets his team to the quarterfinals, and they wind up playing at Villanova against Andy Talley for the 12th time in his career, and they come away with a spine-tingling 34-31 win. There are the two coaches who are very good friends. And boy, I'd like to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
When you got to think, if you're Casey Keeler, no way did you think this game was going to be this tough without the best player for Villanova, John Robertson, being in the game. A little bit tougher than he would have drawn up, but at the end of the day, Sam Houston State gets the win.
And their prize is a date with the defending 3-time national champions, North Dakota State. The 12th penalty of the game for Villanova was an absolute killer, turning a 46-yard field goal attempt into a 51-yard.
And again, it looked like there was no one on the sideline and definitely no one on the field that was aware that the play clock was kicking down. There was no sense of urgency going on anywhere on Villanova's sideline or the field.
So this winning streak for Sam Houston is now 8, and they find themselves with a date
at the Fargo Dome. How about that?
At the Fargo Dome next weekend against the number 2 seed and the 3-time defending national champion, North Dakota State. And there are really just no words to describe how sweet this win must be for Casey Keeler. And I'll tell you what, anybody connected with the athletic department at the University of Delaware right now got to be pulling the covers over their heads. There's your semifinal bracket. New Hampshire at the bottom of your screen. They won their game last night. They will meet the winner of the Eastern Washington-Illinois State game, which should be just getting underway. And it will be Sam Houston State against North Dakota State, the 2 seed, and the other one. One of them will be on Friday night, one of them on Saturday, both on the ESPN networks. And hopefully that will be as entertaining a game as this was today. This was fun to do. So, Villanova's season ends at 11-3. Sam Houston State's season continues at 11-4 as they head for the semifinal date with North Dakota State next week. They played in the championship game 2 years ago and 3 years ago. Can they get back there again? For Rocky Boyman, I'm Bob Picozzi. We say so long from Villanova, where the final score, our NCAA FCS Football Championship quarterfinal game was Sam Houston State 34 and Villanova 31. The Bearkats beat the Wildcats, and their season continues. And it's on to the national semifinals for Sam Houston State from Huntsville, Texas. So long from Villanova.